and then the bye, and then hoping to be back after that. So are you back training at all, or are you just...
I've sort of done a bit of running, and I'll try back into full training sort of later this week.
Excellent. How do you see the game playing out today? Obviously a big test for your young Magpies, but do you think they'll be up to it?
I think so. Yeah, it should be a written game. Beautiful day, so a bit like last week, I hope we can stick with them and hoping to start that lapse in that last quarter like we did, but if we can be competitive, sort of play our way, I reckon we could go a long way into this.
You'd be a bit envious not being able to play on a beautiful day like today, looking out here, the sun's shining here at the famous QEO.
Yes, spewing. As a forward, there's not much more room on a ground of footy, so it is hard to watch.
Excellent. Brad Keogh, we'll let you go, so close to the bounce. We appreciate you joining us and all the best with your quad, and hopefully we'll see you back out there soon.
No worries at all. Thanks, guys.
That was a Brad Keogh of the Castlemaine Football Club out with a quad injury. So we're up to hear from him, and obviously it's always good to hear from some of those players around, especially in that forward line. When he comes back, Norm, he'll add another key factor to that forward line, because probably one of the criticisms that Castlemaine do cop at times is they haven't got a lot of options in that forward line. So when he comes back in, you think that he'll really add to that?
Oh, he will, because I remember the game against Maryborough last year near the end of the year, and early in the game where Maryborough had control, it was only Brad up forward that was giving Castlemaine their options and their chance to go towards goal. And I think they've probably lacked that this year, because you've got Hartley up there, you've got Greaves that's played one or two good games, but you need another one up there that can lead, that can make himself available and demand the football. And that's certainly what Brad did that day against Maryborough.
So, obviously, before we get into the bounce here, we've had a ripping pre-game. Michael Hartley, Bryce Kerr and Brad Keogh. Always good to hear from those three. But, Norm, before we get into this game and deep analysis, round 9 of the Loddon Valley Footy League kicks off today. Obviously, the week off for the King's birthday last week. Morong, Inglewood, Midiamo up against Newbridge, Maiden Gully against Pyramid Hill, and Calville United against Bridgewater. Do you see any of those games as a game that may come into a close game? Probably looking at that on paper, you probably would suggest not.
No, I think that there's two interesting games, Midiamo Newbridge, because Newbridge get a win there, and Morong should defeat Inglewood, which mean that Newbridge would jump into the top 5, which will be great for them. But as you say, the other three games should all be good wins to Morong, Pyramid Hill and Bridgewater. And talking to Lockie Sharp last week, Bridgewater starting to get players back and looking to be back to their former powerhouse state, where they've struggled a little bit in the last couple of years.
North Central Football League is also around 9, but the interesting thing is, Norm, a couple of leagues will complain they don't get any close games. 2 weeks in a row we've had a draw in the North Central League. So Wedderburn, Birchip, Watcham in round 7 had a draw. Donald and Bort last week had a draw. So right. How do you see any of the games today going down to that close for a draw? You got Charlton and Sea Lake Nandaly. Bort takes on St Arnaud. Wedderburn up against Donald, and Witchy Proof Narrowport will take on Nullawall. So how do you see those things out? Are we on for another draw potentially?
The Wedderburn Donald could be a close game. I mean, Donald there in the 4, currently third on 18, and Wedderburn outside the 4 on 14. So it's that should be the interesting contest of the day. You would think Bort will be too good for St Arnaud. Sea Lake Nandaly Tigers sitting second at present behind Birchip Watcham should be too good for Charlton. And Nullawall should get the job done over Witchy Proof Narrowport, which would nearly say then that Witchy Proof Narrowport can't play finals. So there's a little bit of expectation there with that one. But I think that, Nullawall should be a little bit too strong.
Cracking league out there in the North Central Heathcote League, round 10, Leachville Gumbauer up against North Bendigo at Leachville. Heathcote take on Colburn Avon White Hills against Lockington Vermont. Huntley and Mount Pleasant round out round 10. We'll keep you up to date with all the scores as they come through from around the grounds and around the leagues. But we are here, round 9 of the Bendigo Footy League, and the reserves have just finished up. The Sandhurst Dragons 11-11-77 running out victors over Castlemaine 4-5-29. A pretty competitive performance from that Castlemaine side in the reserves. John, we'll be hoping for much the same in the seniors.
Yes, let's hope so, Cam, based on what we saw last week. But we've mentioned that Castlemaine might be a little bit banged up, but so are Sandhurst, so no excuses out there. You know what, Cam, as a supporter, as a member, as a follower of football, and Don, you can relate to this, I don't mind watching any side getting beat as long as they have a crack and the effort is there and the intensity. So if at the end of the day you're not good enough, you're not good enough. So that's what my expectation here is this afternoon, whether it be 20, 40, 60 or even 100 points, as long as we get that effort.
Yeah, totally agree. And in regards to the seconds, like 11 goals to 4 in a twos game, Castlemaine versus Sandhurst on the QEO, that's probably a score that hasn't been there for a long time. So, and pulling 5 players out of the reserve group into the senior group today through injuries has Castlemaine's team's been a bit depleted today in the seconds to bolster the senior group with the injuries and cover those players. So, you know, be interesting today. Footy clubs are all about depth. And in the past, Castlemaine's been on the phone early on a Saturday morning trying to round up 5 players. So it didn't look like that was an issue today. And to be competitive when we're talking about Castlemaine, that's a huge positive.
Yeah, well, if you take that a step further, Don, the second quarter, Castlemaine 3-3 to Sandhurst 2 straight. So they won one quarter for the day. It's probably a long time since the Castlemaine reserves have taken a quarter off Sandhurst. So certainly it's the club all round is a lot better this year than it has been in years gone by.
Yeah, and considering that Sandhurst 2's won the premiership last year.
That's right, yep.
So, you know, both teams have injuries today and depleted, so the depth will be interesting to see who has come in for the Sandhurst group, who can match what's gone out, and the same with the Castlemaine crew that come back in. So they're all previous senior players, so that there's not going to be a problem where anyone's going to be overwhelmed by the day. And you couldn't ask for a better day on the QEO today.
Both teams running out onto the ground as we are very close to a bounce down. But before we get into this game with a deep analysis, tip for around the grounds, Norm, in the South Bendigo Eagle Hawk game, because you think that's the other game in the Bendigo League that could be a game that would be a good contest.
Well, I think it can be the next closest game, and that's South Bendigo need it to be the next closest and need to be on the winning side. But I think from what we've seen of Eagle Hawk this year, they got 1 or 2 players missing at present. I know Big Braden Frost still overseas at this stage, and he'll be a bonus when he comes back and continues the ruck work for Eagle Hawk. But I think Eagle Hawk should just be a little bit too strong for South Bendigo today. It was a much improved performance last week by South, but they still didn't get the chocolates, and these are the games that they've got to win if they're going to play finals. And I think that unfortunately for South, who of course I've got allegiances to and have done for years, I think that Eagle Hawk will be a little bit too strong.
Isn't it interesting though, Norm, that both teams have not put week by week together? They've had weeks where they've been performed well, and then there's weeks where they've been really, really disappointing. So having a head-to-head battle today of 2 teams that have probably underachieved so far this year, and I'm sure that everybody will agree with us. So to see which team stands up today and puts their left boot on first rather than their right boot. I'll go with Eagle Hawk, but it'd be just one of those.
Oh, that's right.
Today.
It's one of those interesting games, and you would think that for Eagle Hawk, if they don't get the job done today, people will be asking Trav Matheson what is going wrong, because they certainly had the players, and at the start of the year, everybody thought that they would be just behind the Sandhurst and Gisborne sides.
Someone doesn't like your assessment, Norm.
As the third best team in the comp, but as you said, Don, they haven't been able to perform consistently week in and week out.
So I'm taking Eagle Hawk in that game. Obviously, we've seen South and we're quite disappointed. Johnny, Eagle Hawk as well, I would assume.
By a long way, just based on what I saw. But obviously,
you said that last week, and I said the Blood. You gave the Bloods a real baking in the pre-game last week, and I said that they'll be competitive, and they weren't disgracing against Golden Square last week.
I just called it how I saw it, Cam. I'd seen them against Sandhurst, and I stand by that. I didn't see them last week, but I think the scoreboard. There's nothing to go by. Yeah, you were a little bit shocked about that, weren't you?
Well, I think, you're not going to give Kangaroo Flat any chance. Anyone here giving Kangaroo Flat any chance against Gisborne down there? No. You think Gisborne win that one comfortably, and of course we all know where Maryborough is, so they'll be up against it against Strathfield, so we hope they can put together a competitive performance. But we're only minutes away from the bounce here at the QEO. And we're going to go around and find out who we think will win this game and why.
Well, before I tell you that, Cam, you might notice I'm puffing because I ran 10 metres down to the bench. A number change at Castlemaine, if you're playing along at home. Tyson Jackson, take him away from number 24, and you can put number 21 on his back. So that's the only change that I picked up when they ran out here. Who's going to win and why?
So John Watson passed his fitness test and McLennan remains as emergency.
Yeah, well, there's 2 McLennans out there. Curtis is the one that's playing, who's showed some real form, and Campbell McLennan as well. But
so Campbell McLennan was named, but he's not playing now. He's listed as the emergency because John Watson passed his fitness test, as Don mentioned on pre-game.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Who are you tipping and why?
Who are you tipping? Go on, come on, Don.
Oh, it's Sandhurst by a bit.
Yeah, define it. What would your best case and worst case scenario be? I mean, it's probably obvious, but what the worst case scenario is?
Look, they were really good last week. They're competitive for 3 quarters, but it just goes to show you I think they brought in 3 or 4 players last week that upsets the structure of the team. I know I spoke positively about Neville Jetta playing a really positive role. When his influence went out of the game, it sort of disappeared. But Castlemaine just lack the run. They lack fitness and a little bit of direction up front. So QEO, we know, has very, very deep pockets, and Sandhurst are a running machine. I made a comment earlier in the week to my son who played the 2020 matches of cricket here, and I know that it's every team that if you lose a grand final, I remember that when talking pre-Christmas, the Sandhurst boys meeting in front of the canteen, 6 to 8 of them off for a run in the start of cricket season. So they've obviously put some load into their legs, and I think they might run away with it quite easily later in the game.
And Norm, before we get your run on the game, John, the toss of the coin's been run and done. Lockie Tardew, Bailey Henderson, who are the umpires and who won the toss, and where are they going and why?
Wow. Where they're going is to the Barnard Street end. That is Sandhurst. They won the toss.
Lefty, a radio dial.
Yeah, where now, excuse my ignorance, but I noticed when I ran up there before that the old South social rooms is gone. Now,
Where have you been all year? It was gone in the pre-season.
Ridiculed. How long's it been gone for?
Yeah, how many games of footy have you called in this
Well,
year?
it's tucked away in the corner, isn't it?
What? They got knocked down nearly at the end, pretty much as soon as the season finished last year.
Yeah, I was watching cricket here and I saw them come down.
Well, I'll just slowly update.
It's not like you, but come on, John.
Back in October, they came down.
Come
Is
on,
that
Don.
why you ran so far? You were trying to run to the rooms down there and you realised they didn't exist, so you kept running.
Jeez, it's a bit bare around here. Come on, Norm, tell us who's going to win and why.
Well, I think I've got to go for Sandhurst. I think last week was a real wake-up call for Sandhurst. They went to Strath expecting to win. They thought they might have won by more than what they did, and it was a credit to them that they were able to come back late in the game when it looked as though Strath were going to finish all over the top. They've got probably one of the most unheralded backlines in the Bendigo Football League. They do the job week in and week out. No questions asked. It doesn't matter who you put down there. Liam Island's been one of the ones that's been down there for quite a number of years now and seems to be able to lock that together. They've also got a great forward line, Maxted Wright. And you add to that Fergus Green this year. Also, their midfield, led by Tardrew, can come in and kick goals. You've got 8 or 10 players that kick goals each week. So I think that even although you look at Castlemaine, Hartley, Henderson, no Huntley, but Greaves up there, they're all capable of hitting the scoreboard big. But I think that Sandhurst will just have a little bit too much run for the young Castlemaine side today, and it should be a good learning curve for the young boys today.
Yes, well, I think that Castlemaine may stay with them for a half, and then they'll kick away at Sandhurst. So let's get things underway in round 9 at the QEO, where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Here's the powerhouse, Cam Power.
Umpires Osborne and Hutchison this afternoon. Ball goes up into the middle of the ground. Sandhurst will try and win the first ball forward. Tardew with the first kick of the game. It goes inside forward 50. Mark dropped in defence there from Hartley. It'll be a bit of a shaky start for him, but it's going to be a free kick for a hold. So is it going to go the way of Sandhurst or Castlemaine? I think it's going to go the way of Lockie Hood for Sandhurst.
Yes, tried to pinch an early kick there, the Sandhurst player, but it certainly wasn't play on.
Well, he quickly handballs off. It's going to be a running through Jake McLean, who dribbles. Well, it was an ordinary kick towards the top. Not sure the handoff was the right option. Intercept mark for the Magpies. And they'll bring it back into play deep in defence. But they survived the first inside forward 50 of the game.
Johnny Watson kicks it out from the back pocket. He sends it beyond 50 along the boundary line, and over it goes. And first possession in the forward line, Don.
Yeah, interesting that Hartley's lined up at centre-half back. So that's a good thing. I've been saying that he probably played a bit more of his footy back there. So this is probably not a bad start, other than the free kick that he just gave away.
Umpire will throw it in. It'll be Sexton doing the ruck work. He punches it forward, but John Watson swooped on it on the left. He sends it down the wing. Looks for Ashton Keogh. He collected the footy, then tackled well. Sandhurst did well. Cooper Smith on the end of a handball. He'll send it inside forward 50 for the Dragons. Danger sign for the Magpies. Got a lot of it. Fergus Green didn't quite mark it. Castlemaine under pressure. Sutherland just dished out a little bit of a handball and a stoppage at the front of goal. Sandhurst deep in attack. Yet to score. 1.5 minutes in the opening term. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Balled up in the pocket. Looks like Sheehan's going to be matching up on Green down there, the key matchup that we spoke about pre-game with Michael Hartley. Ball goes up and comes back down, so we'll have another ball up again. Maxted's gone in the ruck for the Dragons, couldn't quite pull it down, spills to ground. Coughlin's going to try and emerge with the footy, couldn't quite take it. Staggs in there. Mass pack of players around. Eventually Coughlin fed a handball off to a teammate who got the kick out of there. It might have been Lockie Hood. His kick goes out of bounds on the full. And you're used to one redhead dominating possession in Noah Walsh. She's not out there today, so we'll be able to pick Lockie Hood up a little bit easier, John, but his first kick's gone out of bounds on the full.
Yes, and interesting to note that a couple of times we've had ball-ups, Darby Simmons has gone and stood right beside Stagg for each of those ball-ups. So Nick's going to have his work cut out today with young Darby following him around.
It'll be John Watson to bring the ball back into play. He'll chip it short and find a teammate in the back pocket. The Magpies will look to bring it out of defence.
So under pressure early here, the Magpies, the QEO. There's no score on the board as yet. It's a long kick to the wing. Geez, he had some distance on that, and it might be a mark to Sexton. It is. So Sexton of the Dragons looks forward. Awkward-looking kick. It'll go shallow inside forward 50. They'll set themselves. Good strong mark by Air. Air plays on quickly. He'll spread it across half back to Woodman. Woodman was good against Kangaroo Flat a couple of weeks ago when we saw him. He was in one of their best. He'll kick it to the Wilkinson who plays his 50th game here. Feeds it off by hand. Simmons wasn't ready for it. Wilkinson gave it to him a little bit too quickly. Now it's a contested ball. Wilkinson again. Simmons by hands. Grieve received by hands. On the wing, short pass. Hits up Hood.
So Hood's got it for the Magpies. Of course, Jackson Hood for Castlemaine. There's also a Hood out there for Sandhurst as well in Lockie Hood. And they're both wearing number 22. So 2 Hoods and 2 22s. That's the interesting fact for the day to get us going. He chips short to Wilkinson. 60 metres out from home. He thought about going, but he's going to slow things up. Greaves is leading into the pocket. That's where he's going to go. It's a little neat pass, a little bit short. Greaves will come out. He handballs and kept it back into play. It would have been better taking that off the boundary because he's given it straight to Ireland. Ireland to Smith. Tried to go back to Ireland. Smith recovered. Then they get it out wide. Palprat was in there. Comes to Tarju. Got around the Simmons tackle. Handballs to Wharton. Then Wharton gives it off to Palprat again, who was taken in a strong tackle, but they managed to work it out to Coughlin. Coughlin hard up against the boundary. He's pushed as he kicked and it's gone out of bounds on the full. Good pressure early from the young Magpies.
You've got to be happy with the pressure there. That's the overuse, though, of Sandhurst with handball across half back. Got themselves in trouble, didn't it?
They tried that last week, though, Don, too, and it got themselves in trouble against Strath.
So Air with the footy. Ryan Air. He goes. Geez, it's a good hard bullet pass. Free kick to Moran. Will Moran comes into the side this week after 2 weeks off, playing in the Magoos. Coming in with some red-hot form. He's too far out to score. Wearing the number 9, famous Guernsey from Castlemaine. Oh, it's a beautiful looking kick. It spins nicely into the pocket. Shark by Henderson. Henderson to the Magpies. It goes up the chimney. The Dragons under pressure here. Murley swoops on the ball and puts the first one through for the main. It might be the first time and only time they lead of the game, but boy, oh boy. What a start by the Magpies.
On this start, they're here to play.
Score sponsor is Don Is Good, where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Castlemaine lead 1 goal straight to 0.
Welcome back to the QEO for Zave Murley. Previously wearing a Golden Square jumper premiership. Look at that finish. You can't ask for any better, can you?
Yes, that was excellent there, Don, and it was excellent work by the Castlemaine forward line. Once they got the ball in there, unlike Sandhurst, they were able to lock it in and keep pressure on the Sandhurst defence, whereas Sandhurst didn't do that up the other end early in the quarter.
Back in the middle we go. Sexton won it down, but it's Sharksburg forward. Simmons across half back for the Magpies. Tried to send it wide. Kick didn't quite find its intended target. It was a bit of a grubber. So Stagg will receive the footy, but his kick will be smothered. Chance for Air. Tried to shrug off the tackle from Stagg. Did well to fight through it. Umpire crosses his arms and says, well, ball. That probably would have been caught holding the ball in the AFL, I imagine, that one. He did take on the tackle. Ball up, 50 out from home. Umpires Hutchison, Paul and Marcus Osborne this afternoon. Your men in charge with the whistle. Ball at the bottom of the pack. Philo's underneath the bottom. Ball couldn't quite spill out. Umpire letting him play. Eventually crosses his arms and says we'll ball it up. Right in front of the players' race. Poolside change rooms here at the QEO. It's the Magpies leading this one by a goal early on.
In attack, it's the Dragons, but the Magpies lead early in this game. They look switched on. Coughlin wins it. A little bit of a hurried handball under pressure. Jake McLean offered support, then kicked it up the chimney as well. Umpire let a little push go. Now they go forward through Stagg. The Dragons with a shot at goal here, and Stagg whacks it through to even it up here 6 minutes into the opening term. Score sponsor Jason Westcott Builder, where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
The intensity of Castlemaine's defence has been terrific, but is that high ball coming in and Stagg playing the role that he's supposed to play, front and centre, receive, and then a goal slotting it from about 35 out in the pocket. So great finish and a great hit back. One each now.
Yeah, need a little bit more talk with the Castlemaine defence there. There was 3 up for that marking contest, leaving Sandhurst with the loose man at ground level.
Can't fault the Magpies early. Butcher went it down to Henderson. He was taken straight away, but he was able to fight through the Stagg tackle and handball to Air. Paddled it forward. Now the Magpies can handball. That's Moran in there. Sets off the run, which will go inside forward 50 from Woodman. Woodman's kicks a beauty, and it's marked by Greaves, who's got the long sleeves and the bright green boots, young Greaves. Throwing off a bit of Daniel Wells vibes with the black and white long sleeves, I reckon, in that forward pocket. Let's see if he can go back and kick truly. Decides not to go for goal. He's going to centre it to the top of the square. Wants a couple of flyers. And the mark almost paid there to Hood. Couldn't quite bring it down. Sandhurst, they're holding on in defence. Magpies trying to find a way through. Quick kick out of the contest. And Sandhurst will be happy to take it over for a minor score through Harrison Free. First minor of the day. Magpies lead it by a point. 8 minutes gone. First quarter. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers.
Yeah, once again, good pressure by the Castlemaine forward line. They're certainly switched on at the start of this game and causing Sandhurst a little bit of trouble.
Free from the Dragons, plays on from fullback. Spreads it wide to Hood, finds him. He's got a running Cooper Smith, who kicks it to the wing. Good ball movement. Hits Sexton. Sexton, outer side wing, swimming pool side to the Barnard Street end. He'll now dump it down the line. He kicked it to a pack of players. Good, strong mark. Maxted of the Dragons, inside forward 50. He's got a player on, just floating
Perez
into space. Perez. He's wearing the darker boots this afternoon, and he'll line them up for goal.
Yeah, interesting, the difference between the two sides. The Sandhurst player, he was confident that his teammate was going to get the mark, so he ran to space, and his teammate hit him up. Nice kick into space. Now a chance for the second goal to Sandhurst.
Oscar Perez, opportunity goes missing, so we'll even it up again. 1-1-7 apiece. 9 minutes gone. Opening term, local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Magpies will bring the ball back into play. Hartley doing the kick-in duties today. Chips it short. Clear it out of defence. High ball goes down the line. Falls to the bottom of the pack. Tarju picked it up. Couldn't quite take it cleanly. Woodman goes through and paddles it forward to Greaves. Greaves gave it off to Moran, who was taken in a strong tackle.
And he's got the free kick for a slinging tackle.
It did look like there was a bit of vengeance in the tackle. It was all fair, of course, but Moran will receive the free kick.
Well, it's Isaac Ruff,
early.
and I've said it a few times. It's rough by name, rough by nature. So I don't think there's anything in it other than that's how Isaac goes at it.
So kick down the line. Tarju was able to shark it off the packs and into the middle of the ground, but it's turned over. It'll be sent back in forward 50 from Philo. His kick was high, and it will be intercepted by Liam Ireland, who had an island of space when he took that mark. He'll clear the kick onto the far wing.
Goes to Wilkinson of the Dragons, to the wing. Hits up a teammate in Keating. Keating comes in the side this afternoon. Kicks it long. He spotted up a player through, looks like Fergus Green playing well beyond 50. It was a beautiful kick. The lead came from Maxted. There's actually two to choose from, and it was Maxted that was hit on the chest, and probably a crack appearing in the defence there for the Magpies, Don.
Yeah, if they want to stay in this, they just need to be a bit more close checking. You can see that forwards just leading up and doing what they want, but I think they're controlling the air as well. So Castlemaine need to work a little bit harder on pressure on the kicker that's kicking into the forward line, and I think Maxted's just slotted that.
He has slotted in indeed, so that's the second of the afternoon for Sandhurst. They'll go to 2-1-13. They lead Castlemaine. 1-1-7 score. Sponsor Bendigo City Framers, where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yes, Castlemaine forwards or midfielders have got to be more quick getting back into defence when Sandhurst get the football, because that was too easy coast to coast for Sandhurst. There was 4 marks and no Castlemaine player touched the football along the way.
They transitioned the ball beautifully off half back, didn't they?
Oh, they do all the time.
Opened the ground up,
Yep.
kicked across the ground, and then came in that other side, that open side.
Interesting for the Dragons. Ash Connick coaching from the box above. Bryce Kerno down on ground level watching on. Taken forward by Air for the Magpies. Sent it wide, but it's going to be a chance for the Dragons. Young Tyson Jackson with that number change now in the 21 going through. Couldn't quite take any clean possession. Umpire crosses his arms and says, we'll ball it up. About 70 up from home.
Just on that, you just wonder why not hold the wing on the QEO? Why go to the ball where the ball's coming towards you? If you had sat off, he would have got one over the top and Castlemaine would have been in deep into their forward line.
So it was Lockie Hood that tried to take on the tackle and he was caught holding the ball, so the Magpies will clear the ball from a free kick across half-back.
Air with the football. Short pass, hits Philo. Philo gives it back to Air, who ran on, gets caught.
Gone.
He was strong through the hips, but he did drop it when he was tackled. So nice bit of work by Charlie Robinson. Now for the Dragons. He's got a player on in the pocket. He honours the lead, and a good strong mark was taken by Green. And you don't want him getting it too often in the forward zone, Don.
No, the early one I saw, he missed quite a few, so I'm hoping he brings that mantra today.
Missing him or?
Missing them.
So, Fergus Green. He's on a 45-degree angle, maybe even a little tighter. But the man on the mark only stands at 35. He's in that pocket where that club rooms I was talking about, the social rooms used to be, that I only just noticed.
Weren't there.
That weren't there. It's not there. Fergus Green for the Dragons. Barnard straight in. Misses. Poor kick. 2-2-14. They lead to 1-1-7. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. The Dragons have got hold of this one just at the moment.
So Hartley will bring the ball back into play for the Magpies. He'll chip short. It was a dangerous kick, but the mark will be taken there. There's an Air who's been very busy early. His kick goes down the line. Jackson went past it. Greaves got it. Fired out a handball. Missed its intended target. Trying to bounce his way through, though. Ended up coming out back into the hands of Jackson. And Coughlin got him. It's bouncing around hard up against the boundary line. McConaughey, that's Ben McConaughey going through. And the umpire crosses his arms and says, we'll ball it up.
Yeah,
Right in front of our broadcast position.
hard for the Castlemaine players there because their teammates were putting them all under pressure with handballs and went straight to people with opponents right on their tail.
Well, Butcher went right up and his foot nearly made connection with the head of Tananelli, who's gone to the ruck for the Dragons. So Nelly will receive the free kick. He'll dump it down the line. No mark taken. Spills out. Philo's in some space. If he can be clean, he's able to pick it up nicely. Fire it back to Henderson. Then Henderson can give it off to Hartley, who will just send a nice kick down the line. Its intended target is Ben McConaughey. He marks. Got a few options back in board if he wants one. Chips it short to a teammate. Might be Air. He's been very, very prominent early. Of course, Vic Country representation earlier this season. Sends it down the line. Island will take the intercept mark for the Sandhurst Dragons.
He's on half-back. He'll spread it wide to Alex Wharton. From one half-back flank to the other. Then he goes to the wing. They're out here, the Dragons. They'll move it. Handball on to Cooper Smith. Backdoor to Wharton. Dragons moving it forward now to Leyden, who comes in the side this afternoon. To half forward. To Mark. It's been taken by Perez. Perez into the pocket. Dragons attack here. Got his hands on the footy. Tardrew. Offering support is McLean. Boundary line wins. 40 from goal. Dragons in attack. Ball up.
So, John, so far, the criticism of Sandhurst last year, they continually played the ball back from where it came from down the line constantly. This year, they've shown us straight away, every time it comes into that defence, they change it up and change direction. Good to see.
Right-hand forward pocket, shooting towards the Barnard Street end of the ground of the Dragons. Maxted's gone into the ruck, won it down though, but it was sharked for the Magpies by Air. Fired out the handball, then paddled it forward was Chester. Air's kick was down the line. No one able to take any clean possession, and we'll have another ball up. They've advanced the ball forward about 15 metres, the Magpies. From Castlemaine, heading towards the Bendigo City end. They're on the far wing, which is the poolside wing at the QEO. Knock forward for the Dragons and sent with a dribbling ball forward there was Zach Pelprat. Over the boundary line she goes for a boundary throw-in. Right in front of the players' race.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed with Castlemaine early in this first quarter is they're not keeping their forward structure. If the ball were to come back then, there was 3 Sandhurst players behind the ball and only 1 Castlemaine.
Kins in attack.
That'll help, John.
That'll help. That's $1 into the tin. Lockie Hood paddles the ball towards the boundary line. There's 70 from home now. Ball in. So good contest, though.
Look, you look across the ground and Castlemaine guys just standing off their opponents. Not on the QEO. You can't give Sandhurst any room at all.
No, it's like it's 2 or 3 times the distance compared to any other ground. You just don't do it. Let's see what happens here. Hood doing the ruck work for the Magpies. To his feet. Philo tried to make a path. big, strong bull of a brute.
Well, just on that, John, you want to be able to, match or make a 50-50, but not giving that much room.
Contested footy now. Hold, Castlemaine to get a free kick. Looks like Jack Chester in the back half. He looked to dish off by hand, then eventually does to Henderson. Back to Chester by hand. Handball forward, Semmons. Semmons, double premiership player. Don't get too excited there, Norm. And he kicks it up the wing and finds Wilkinson.
So Wilkinson's got it. He'll chip it backwards and find its way into the hands of Watson. Watson's handball looking for the runner Henderson, but it just didn't quite sit for him. Now he's got 2-on-1 to battle. Maxted's got it. Gave it off to Perez. Perez sends it inside forward. 50. Tardew dropped the mark he normally would have taken. And Castlemaine survives. Semmons quickly fires off the handball. They'll work it down the line, the Magpies. Tracking hard there. Couldn't quite take it. There'll be another number change there for the Magpies. Got number 28 running around out there. Ball going forward. Perez gets it for the Dragons. Oh, he tried to take on the tackle, then he dropped the ball. Umpire, he waved his arms and said, play on. Hartley got it. Hartley's kick went down in the direction of a teammate there, Moran. Just overcooked him, but Ireland couldn't take the mark. Burrowing through will be Andrew as the first gamer for the Sandhurst Dragons. The umpires are content to let him play, and we'll have a ball up right in front of our broadcast position. Grandstand side wing.
Zave Murley's 28, not 26.
Yeah, well, we know him pretty well, Zave Murley. He's been a super player for Golden Square and now for Castlemaine. Lockie Hood. Jackson Hood for the Magpies wins down the middle, but off half back. Dragons get a free through Ireland. Spreads it wide, laterally. Alex Wharton. Hands on the footy. To the wing. Coughlin receives. Coughlin, the Dragons, plays on from the outer side wing. Sends it inside forward 50, but sliding and taking a good strong mark there will be Hartley, the coach.
Hartley will then chip it into the middle of the ground, finds its way into the hands of a teammate. They can come out wide towards Greaves, bounces in front of him, but he's got time to recover. Can give the run to Jackson if he wants. He does. Then he's going to give it back to him, but I'm not sure they were on the same wavelength there. Jackson has handballed it, and while Greaves had kind of stopped, turnover. Perez gets it for the Dragons. Will run through the middle of the ground. He'll send a kick towards centre half forward. Strong mark taken, 50 metres out from home. It's going to be Stagg. He's got the distance in him if he's good enough. And I would say he's good enough to kick this one. He's looking to pass off, but he might have to be forced to shoot. He's going to decide to load up. He uses all his legs, sends it right to the line. Has it got the distance? It's going to be marked in the goal square anyway. And is it Maxted?
Kobe Maxted.
It is Kobe Maxted who's taken the mark in the goal square, and that is a coach killer. In fact, he's kicked the goal as well. Didn't waste any time.
And that just comes back to that poor decision made by Tyson Jackson on the wing to get a handball receive, running forward, and then handball the ball backwards. You made a comment on that, Cam. Like that would have been.
I don't think Greaves was expecting it to come.
No, because the play was to kick it deep into your forward line or to a leading player, and he's handballed it back to Greaves, who had a player running with him.
Well, he had three players running with him. I mean, there was three Sandhurst players that could raffle the ball when it hit the ground, and you had Johnny Watson, who was in the pocket and breaking, that should have had the long kick to him.
Maxted has 2. Dragons by 13. Score sponsor JB Restumping.
Up in the middle they go. Jackson Hood doing the ruck work. Tries to shovel it out after the contest forms at ground level for the Magpies. We can't. We'll have a stoppage.
They're letting them play when the ball hits the bottom of the park.
Yeah, they are. Hood did well then. He had 4 Sandhurst players. If that ball had come out, it was off and going, but he kept it in there and didn't give a penalty away.
Sexton wins the ruck for the Dragons. And we'll have another stoppage.
See, there's that penalty free kick. It's coming in.
The penalty free kick? No, I like the fact that they're letting it go this afternoon, to be honest. I don't think they're going overboard. Let's see if they can get it out of here now. Pratt wins it from the middle for the Dragons. Sends it to half forward. Another stoppage. Ugly little bit of play on across half forward. Dragons in attack. Yeah. 13-point margin, 21 minutes gone, opening
Good
term.
tackle by Semmons there. He didn't let the Sandhurst player out.
Well, that's the play that needs to keep them into the game. If they can continue to do that, they'll stay in it.
One down by Sexton. Coughlin then sends the ball inside forward 50. It bounces off the chest of its intended target down there, which was Maxted. Couldn't quite take it. Spills to the ground. Probably dropped a couple of marks inside forward 50, the Dragons. We've seen Tardew drop one earlier. Maxted that one, and it just feel like they could be a couple more goals in front of this game. But Castlemaine are holding on. They're turning it into a contest. They'll clear this ball out of the defence. It'll find its way to Moran, who's inside defensive 50 for the Magpies. Going to be forced to send it high ball down the line. Wilkinson the target, but it favoured Ireland. It hits the ground hard, but he claimed the mark. And I reckon it was the force of the impact on the ground which knocked it out of his hands, so he'll get the ball thought about handballing to Smith. He fooled everyone, then sent the high ball inside forward 50. Pack of players will fly. No mark taken. Spills to ground. And the umpire a little bit quicker on this one, says there's no chance that ball's coming out. We'll have a ball up inside forward 50.
Goes to show you pay Peter to play Paul. He put Hartley down back. They've got no one to kick it to up front.
Hartley doing the ruck work now. He's deep in the defensive zone for the Magpies. Another stoppage. He got held up with the footy. Hartley and Henderson look alike for the Magpies. They're both in the area. Hartley grabs it out of the ruck. Then he banged it on the boot quickly. Look for Murley. Players allowed to go on in the centre. Good strong tackle, Harrison free. And it will, in fact, it was Harrison free being up there. And we'll have another ball up just forward to centre for the Dragons.
Like the intent there from Murley on the ball. Ball spills down. Then he makes a strong tackle, but it spills out. Umpire across his arms and says,
Call
no,
a throw.
it's a throw.
Castlemaine.
So free kick Castlemaine will go the way of Murley. In number 28, quickly sends it onto the wing for Semmons. Semmons can send it down the line. It'll be Tyson Jackson, who couldn't quite take the mark. Spills to ground. Now the Dragons can turn it over. Stagg fires the handball backwards. Island, who's in an island of space. I think I went with that one earlier. Down the line we go again. Picked up and handball forward for the Dragons. That was Wilkinson. Kick inside forward 50. And the mark's been taken by Hood. And he played on quickly. Then he steps around the man on the mark, which fell over. That was Henderson. Chips into the pocket. No mark taken. It was almost something for Fergus Green, but he's able to recover. He's able to get out of the pack, shoot on goal.
Out of bounds on the full.
Out of bounds on the full. Gave it a big wrap and no score. 13-point lead to the Dragons, 23 minutes played in the opening quarter. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers.
Yes, Fergus Green moving around well up forward for Sandhurst. Had a couple of shots on goal and one out in the full and one behind so far.
So Magpies have it in the back half through Philo to Hartley by hand. Hartley, I don't like the kick. He just dumped it down the line. Kicks it to a pack of players. Greaves is in the area, manages to win it. Just tumbles it along the ground. Butcher involved. Layden wins it for the Dragons. On the wing. Sends it shallow inside forward 50. Another turnover. Matty Philo. Philo now. Right half back. He'll go backwards in order to go forwards. Hits Hartley, who's sitting in the back zone. Hartley short pass. Finds Air. Air by hand, back to Hartley. Magpies swap it from one side of the ground to the other. Semmons receives a mark. Semmons kicks forward to the wing. Sutherland probably should have marked it. Turnover now. Now it's the Dragons. Free, runs a long way. Gives it to McLean by hand. Dragons inside forward 50. They've got a player, it looks like Wilkinson, who's in at the top of the square and runs in unchecked and slams it through for another one for the Dragons. So that takes the Dragons to 4-3-26 leading. Castlemaine 1-1-7. Score sponsor, JB Re-Stumping. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
His drop catches hurt, don't they? Sutherland's drop mark out on that wing and then the turnover, rebound from Sandhurst. And then it's the easiest of goals. You won't see any easier today, I don't think.
The biggest problem I'm seeing Castlemaine having at present is that they're not keeping their structure up forward. Players are trying to be being drawn towards the football, and they've got nobody to get it out to when they do get it.
Well, you do look inside that Castlemaine forward line. There's not much height in there at the moment. We've got Greaves playing as the deep forward. Probably traditionally a small forward, you would imagine, but being forced to play that role with Hartley sitting in the back line. And we know in cricket the catches win matches, as you mentioned before, and it's no different to footy. One down. Henderson will then receive it, give it off to Philo. Back to Henderson. This looks a little bit better as he sends it out towards Johnny Watson, but the kick just misses him and chases hard, but he's unable to bring it back into play. And it just needed to sit that kick a little bit, and they were away to the races through Watson, but it didn't, and it's over the boundary line for a boundary throw in. Far side pull wing here at the QEO.
Yes, need to smarten up their execution, especially when there's no pressure on the ball carrier.
Throw in on the far wing. Sexton wins it down, looking for Tarju. Took an ordinary bounce for him. It spills out, though. Taken in the tackle there for the Magpies was Frankling, but they managed to spill it forward. They're still hard up against the boundary line. Eventually, it goes over for a boundary throw in.
So, Castlemaine trail, it's 26-7. Dragons lead this one. Out of side wing now. Umpire will throw it in. It'll be Sexton against Butcher of Castlemaine. Two young, good players. It's a contest. Sexton wins it for the Dragons. Lloyd, Butcher got over his shoulder and Dragons will get a free kick. for one too high. So Sexton, in fact, it wasn't. Yeah, I thought they was trying to do the old sucker job. Sexton short pass hits McLean. Handball forward. They'll work it now. Free. Goes to Keating. Keating and the Dragons just forward of centre. Inside forward 50 he goes. The target will be Green. Hartley gets his hands on the footy. Front and centre was a handball over the top to Green. It came from Robinson and another easy goal for Sandhurst, and they kick away 5-3-32. Castlemaine, sorry?
5-2.
5-2 rather. 5-2. And thanks for chirping in there, Cam. Score sponsor is Don is Good. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
And there's another example of a drop catch from Hartley.
Yes, true, you're right there, Don. But the thing is, when the ball's going to ground, the Sandhurst players are on the move at the drop of the ball. The Castlemaine players are proactively waiting to see what happens.
Just spectators right now.
Yep.
Witches' hats.
Back in the middle we go. Ball spills, hits the bottom of the pack, and we'll pull it up. Around the grounds, Gisborne 4-6-30, Kangaroo Flat 2-1-13, Eagle Hawk 4-10-34 to the South Bendigo Bloods, 3 straight 18, 4-10. That's not good kicking for Eagle Hawk. They lead that one though. Back in the middle. Order again. Umpires Hutchison and Moran this afternoon. Spilling down. Working forward. One forward there from Murley. Henderson will emerge with it. Will fire out the handball off to Woodman. Woodman's got some space. Will chip short just through the fingers of Jackson Hood, who couldn't quite take it down. Dragons will get it out. They'll clear the kick up towards centre wing. Henderson dropped another mark he should have taken. It seems to be a bit of a theme. It's contagious at the moment. Ball spills to the bottom of the pack. And keep an eye on Henderson. He's down clutching at his ankle there right in front of us.
He's gone in.
And he looks like he's in all sorts of pain.
Yes, that was from that last contest, Cam, and I don't blame him for dropping the mark when he was on the ground trying to mark the ball and more worried about an injured leg.
So, game stopped for a moment as the trainers come to him, but he waves them away, and I just feel like if the umpires are going to stop the game, the player has to go off sometimes. Nothing annoys me more when they stop a game and the player gets up and continues to go on. But anyway, it's a gripe for another day. Dragons will get it out of there. Comes out to Air. He'll send it down, but it's a 3-on-1 situation. They'll raffle it off to who wants it, and the mark will eventually be taken as easy as you like. And it'll be Lockie Wright who will chip to find James Coughlin.
Coughlin now, half-back, into the middle. Alex Wharton has a lot of the footy this afternoon. He's got run and support through Cooper Smith. Dragons will go forward now. It goes to the back of the pack. Magpies will mop up. Air receives a little short pass. Magpies across half-back. Woodman marks it from one half-back flank to the other. We'll bring it down broadcast side. Short pass forward. McConaughey receives. He'll look further afield. Hasn't got a lot on offer. He'll be asked to play on by the umpire in a minute. Now he goes. 50-metre ball to half forward. Hard up against the boundary line. Ireland had rear position for the Dragons. Had his hands on the footy. And that's the quarter-time siren. Here at the QEO, Sandhurst lead 5-2-32 to Castlemaine 1-1-7. Let's go around the grounds for an update. South Bendigo at South Bendigo, Harry Trott, 3 goals straight, 18 trail. Eagle Hawk 4-10-34. And in other games, Gisborne 4-8-30 lead, Kangaroo Flat 2-1-13. And the Storm, big leaders, quarter time 13-14-92 to Maryborough 1-2-8. And here at the QEO, the home of country football in round 9, quarter time Sandhurst 5-2-32 lead Castlemaine 1-1-7, where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
It's the Bendigo Football Netball League top 5 for round number 8. Coming in at number 1, Zach Bolger here from Eagle Hawk. He had to think quick. He got it, snapped it, put it through the goals. Great work there, Zach. Coming in at number 2, we love a big climb here. John Coe from Golden Square takes off and takes a great mark in defence as well, if you don't mind. Coming in at number 3, it's Bailey Henderson here from Castlemaine, gives the don't argue, spears a pass in, follows his work up, which is impressive, gets it and bends it back all the way home. A brilliant goal there, Bailey. Number 4, it's Jack Stewart here from Golden Square, tucked against the boundary line. A plethora of players in front of him. He snaps it. Oh, yes, he does. What a great goal by Jack Stewart. Number 5 sees Caleb Connick from Sandhurst here take a really strong mark. Knee in the shoulder. Took a beautiful grab.
Big, long, gangly arms, and he clunked it.
From accidents to breakdowns, Parsons Towing can handle anything from cars, trucks, buses, machinery, containers, even motorcycles. Parsons Towing is a family-owned business that understands the importance of prompt, professional service. Parsons Towing has now joined the team at Bellevue Panels in Bendigo, covering a larger area. To get you back on track anytime, anywhere. ParsonsMotorBody.com.au.
Local First Fresh sponsor Jason Westcott Builder, where your dreams become a reality. Whether it's crafting bespoke 5-bedroom homes or breathing new life into cherished spaces with renovations and extensions, they're there for you every step of the way. With a dedicated team and a commitment to exceeding your expectations, Jason Westcott Builder is your partner in creating the home you've always envisioned. Visit them online with their galleries and begin your journey at Jason Westcott Builder.
You can do it at City Framers. You can do it by capturing your glory days, capturing moments and creating unique memories for teams or individuals. You can do it by remembering this year in sport. You can do it with a framed jumper, ball, bat, or design a poster as a club trophy or glory days keepsake. Fresh sponsor Bendigo City Framers proudly support Bendigo football in 24. As a matter of fact, you can do it now.
Only one local radio station for live local footy. Only one local station supporting live community sport across central Victoria. The people out walking know, even bus drivers know. And you know, it's Bendigo's Fresh. Thanks to local footy sponsor, more live Bendigo football. And now, it's time to fire up delicious Don Footy Franks. They're made for the footy. Is Don, is good.
Quarter time here at the QEO, where Castlemaine are trailing Sandhurst. Sandhurst dominating in the second half of that first quarter, if that made sense, where it is 5-2-32 to Castlemaine 1-1-7. In North Central, quarter time, Bort leads St Arnaud 4 goals straight, 24 to St Arnaud 2-2-14. And Wedderburn 3-3-21 lead Donald 3-1-19.
Yeah, in that first quarter, I thought better players for Castlemaine were Ayr. Butcher in the ruck, he tried his heart out. Zave Murley, very good, first goal of the game, and has had plenty of the football since. Darby Simmons on a half-back flank has got plenty of it, but he gets overwhelmed when the Sandhurst midfielders run forward and aren't followed by Castlemaine opponents. And until he got hurt, and I hope it's not too bad, I thought Bailey Henderson had done a reasonable job.
Quarter time, Huntley 3-2-20 lead Mount Pleasant 2-7-19, and Colburn Abbon 2-6-18 lead Heathcote 1-2-8.
Wow. Yeah, better players for Sandhurst. Lockie Hood in the middle is leading by getting to the fall of the ball a little bit quicker than the rest of the Castlemaine boys. Alex Wharton's been good. Liam Island, I don't know how many he's caught down back, but he should play cricket because he's not dropping catches. And up front, Max Stead and Green, just to raffle who's going to kick your goals.
Well, the goal kickers, you mentioned, Max, that he's got 2, Fergus Green, Nick Stagg and Matty Wilkinson are the other goal kickers in this game, Johnny.
Yeah, and
Sandhurst taking an awful long time in their huddle.
They are. So, what are your initial thoughts on the Castlemaine performance? Really, let's be honest.
Look, they just don't take their opportunities when they get them. And they start to transition the ball. They turn it over across the half-back or even in the centre of the ground, and then their lack of accountability to. I think when you play footy, it's 18v18. I know that we play an area and a space, but the accountability of the defenders to lock down, it's just not visible at the moment. And up forward, I don't think there's any strategy going into their forward line whatsoever.
Yes, the first quarter for me has been the experience of Sandhurst has shown out in transition, and Castlemaine aren't able to get back quick enough when Sandhurst are going forward. Castlemaine have had plenty of opportunities, as you said, Don, but just haven't got any way of entering into that forward 50. it's got to be a low kick at present because they've got no talls down there and the low kicks just aren't hitting targets.
Well, the good news in this game, though, is I do feel that Castlemaine, if they can just fix up a few of those minor things, they're still in the contest. Took Sandhurst majority of the quarter to get away on the scoreboard, but they're not out of this at all. The Magpies, they won 1-7. Sandhurst to 5-2-32. The second quarter is about to get underway here at the QEO, which is absolutely bathed in sunshine. A big response needed for the Magpies to get us underway in the second quarter. Here's the Huntsman, John Hunter.
Hartley into the ruck for the Magpies. You're pretty happy with that, don't you? You can. It'll be Philo, swoops on it, on the left, spreads to the wing, picked up by Tardrew, dishes out a handball. Sutherland getting involved, Keating getting involved. Keating of the Dragons. They got numbers. Hood on the end of a handball. Gives it to Tardrew. He got collared by Woodman. Advantage paid, it's not. So Lockie Tardrew on the wing, broadcast side, gets a free kick.
Well, it was, but then it wasn't, so
It was well umpired.
Not sure how.
It was. Don't often say that, do we?
All the time, don't we? Don.
Yes, John.
Tarju, high ball inside, forward 50. Wilkinson of the Magpies flew, couldn't take it, spills out wide. Simmons is there if he can get it, but eventually Wilkinson in the tackle by Wharton. Both players were happy to see that one over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in. Right on the paint of 50, Sandhurst in attack, heading towards the Bendigo City end of the ground. Right-hand side of your radio dial if you're listening along at home. Or in your car or wherever you may be listening. Throw in on the paint of 50. Maxted goes into the ruck. Won it down. Air spins his way through. Got some sort of a handball. We'll call it that. It's picked up by Stagg. He's taken in the tackle. We'll have another ball up. There's Philo also looking a little bit sore in front of us there for the Magpies. Sexton gets back into the ruck. Butcher won it down to Stagg. Stagg then fired the handball out wide. Philo goes off the ground, but he kicked it straight into the head of a Sandhurst player. It bounced off him. Wharton picked it up. Dribbling around. Eventually, Stagg will handball it forward. Hood of the Dragons gets the handball forward. It was Tarju, in fact, and it's taken over the boundary line for the Magpies. We'll have it thrown in.
Zach Palprat's just given Lloyd Butcher one just to let him know that who's the old stager here.
A little cheeky, cheap one.
Yeah.
Umpire will throw it in now. Across half forward Dragons. Broadcast side. Sexton in the ruck. Puts it to his feet. Contest form. It's pinging around. Ends up with Tardrew. Paul Pratt ran onto a ball that was put into his path. Now he goes shallow inside forward 50. Kobe Maxted Dragons overruns the football. Wilkinson for the Magpies ties it up. 35 around from goal in the back pocket, and we'll have a ball up.
Yes, it's been a reasonable start for Castlemaine to start this second quarter. They've kept the pressure on Sandhurst, but Sandhurst have kept the ball in their forward half.
Maxted and Butcher. Butcher wins it down. Philo hard against the boundary line, taken over. We'll have a throw in inside the forward pocket. Cananelli in the long sleeves today for the Dragons. Inside forward 50 after becoming a bit of a cult hero in that forward line, kicking 3 crucial goals last week against the Storm. Haven't seen too much of it today, though. Maxted wins it down, but it's knocked forward. Simmons can go through against Tarju. Tarju got there first, shrugged his way out of the tackle. He was caught high by Slingo, who was the offender, and I don't think Slingo's too happy with the decision there. Didn't look to be a hell of a lot in that one.
No, it wasn't, but Tardrew was good enough to keep the head low, and of course the tackle went up over the shoulders.
So inside the forward pocket, right-hand forward pocket, you'll have to kick it all of 45 metres, and he's only about 5 metres in from the boundary line when he does so. So it'll be a tough shot. But he is a superstar player. Lockie Tardrew comes in on the right, sends it goalwards. It starts left. In fact, it's going to go right to the goal square, and a mark has been taken in the square. And that is an absolute coach killer if you're Castlemaine, because it is going to be Fergus Green, who just read it like a book. An uncontested chest mark, not quite in the goal square because he's going to be forced to go around and have to snap it. But an uncontested mark on your chest. Kind of summarises the game a little bit for me.
You talk about a coach killer. They had a ruckman. They had Hartley, 5 defenders, and you watch your chest mark get taken.
So Green plays on quickly and snaps the ball through for a goal, and their 6th goal is on the board. They move to 6-2-38. Castlemaine 117, a 31-point margin. 4 minutes into the second quarter. Score sponsor, JB Re-Stumping. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
So, Cam, in regards to we had, 3 stoppages in front of us. I think there was a couple of stops, restarts, and then boundary throw-ins. Sandhurst had 4 behind the footy. Castlemaine must have 4 around the ball and didn't win possession. Is there a problem with that?
There is a big problem there, Don.
Back into the middle we go. Hartley doing the ruck work against Sexton of the Dragons. Cooper Smith, he just made a path through the middle. He ran and gave it to McLean. Jake McLean. We get the witches' hats out here because Kobe Maxted is on the end of a mark.
Yes, it was a good lead by Maxted. As soon as he saw the Sandhurst players break in the centre, he led from almost the goal square and able to take an easy mark 40 metres out.
Danger signs here, Magpies. Do you want a head count there, Don?
No, I'm just looking behind the ball. It's like Sandhurst's set up behind the footy is fantastic, but Castlemaine, I mentioned it earlier, their accountability of playing on somebody. Well, if they're not hunting the footy...
Max said shot at goal, it's a minor score.
What are they doing?
39 playing 7. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Dragons lead.
So he'll be brought back into play by Air. He'll play on out of defence, out of the goal square, send it down the line, but it's a tough kick. Wilkinson flew. I thought he might have got hands to it, but the mark's been taken by Butcher in front of him. Quite often the player playing in front will be awarded those ones. He'll go short to McConaughey. This is Ben McConaughey, who will be forced to chip backwards. It's a short pass.
This is better.
At least they're not dumping it down the line. The Magpies will then clear out. Far side of the ground.
Curtis McLennan.
So Curtis McLennan will send it forward for the Magpies. It comes out, far wing. They'll work it back in the middle. This is much better possession, as we called by Norm. Playing on was Philo. Went one way, then the other. Sends it into the pocket for a 10 target. Good mark taken inside the forward pocket for the Magpies, and it'll be a chance for a shot on goal.
Jack Chester.
And Jack Chester, he'll be hard in the right-hand forward pocket, which will be the South Bendigo change rooms, far side of the ground here at the QEO.
Jack Chester, 35 in front. I wouldn't back him. I'm going to back him now, but I'm not going to watch.
So 10 metres in from the boundary. We'll have to kick it all of 40.
The crowd will tell you, Don.
Comes in on the right. Sends it goalwards. It's not a bad-looking effort. Oh, it's hit the post. It looked good for all money off the boot. And boy, did they need that one, but unable to beat. So their second score, 1-2-8, playing 6-3-39.
Dragons won't muck around. They play on quickly from fullback. McLean. Cooper Smith getting involved. Short pass over the top to Keating. Short pass Perez.
Just keeping's off, isn't it?
Yeah, this is where you can't just guard ground. You've got to be up with your opponent. It's on behind play too. We'll keep an eye on that.
Well, Castlemaine are going to have a shot at goal here because what happened, Bailey Henderson took a mark, caused a turnover, and he sent it inside forward 50, and it's deep in that zone, and Greaves, he should kick this one, Don, for sure.
Is that just players focused on the fight and not the ball, and Castlemaine were able to find a loose inside? Is that exactly what happened there?
Oh, I don't think so, no.
Poor kick across the ground.
Yep.
I want to know what was going on over the other side.
Well, it was Jack Chester that was involved, and I didn't catch which Sandhurst player.
And the Sandhurst player hobbling towards the boundary, holding his shoulder by the looks.
Greaves of the Magpies misses.
Oh, that's a big...
Needs to kick that. 1-3-9, 30-point margin, 6-3-39. 8 gone, second term. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yes, we've seen a better setup by Castlemaine in the last couple of minutes. They were able to transition well and then keep the ball in their forward line.
So on the far side of the ground, it'll work forward for the Magpies, for the Dragons, sorry. As Cooper Smith coming off the ground, clutching at that right-hand shoulder. Keep an eye on that one right in front of us in the bench. Norm, ball across half back. They'll be forced to send it down the line here. Pull side wing at the QEO. Big fly mark taken by Maxted. He can quickly get and go. He'll wheel into the middle of the ground for Wharton, but Henderson read what was coming, got back and took a strong intercept mark. He'll handball off quickly to Air. Air can go down the line. They've got some options if he's good enough. One of them will be Greaves. The kick goes there and finds him. Greaves will quickly reel around onto the right, send it towards Hartley at centre half forward. Tonk mark taken. 55 from home, but he can kick these ones. He decides to load up and go for goal. He sent a bomb straight over the goal umpire's hat. Michael Hartley, and a much-needed goal for Castlemaine. What a kick of the footy that was. They get their second.
Nice finish, wasn't it? It's intercept mark from Bailey Henderson, his ankle's obviously come good, but that intercept mark across half back and to hit up Greaves and then into Hartley to finish, it's probably the nicest kick I've seen him do for a little while.
Absolutely read it like a book. It's 6-3-39 the Magpies, 2-3-15 Castlemaine. 6-3-39 is Sandhurst, score sponsor. Bendigo City Framers, 10 minutes gone in the second quarter. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Back into the middle. So, good positive couple of minutes by the Magpies. Not so much for the Dragons. They've got a big injury. Cooper Smith is now on the bench. Winning it out of the middle for the Magpies will be Murley. Murley spreads it wide to half forward. McConaughey in the area, but mopped up by the Dragons, who will kick it quickly to the wing. One-on-one contest. Darby Simmons against Stagg. Did well. Simmons now looks quickly. He'll go inside forward 50. Danger area. Hands on the footy. Should have marked it Hartley. Oh, it's front of the pack there. Greaves into Henderson. Bang, and puts it through for another one. Magpies hot at the moment. 10 minutes gone. Second term. Score sponsor JB Restumping. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yeah, the difference in this quarter with their forward 50 entries is they're going in long. They've got somebody to kick it to, but the players are hitting the ball hard at ground level. They're on the run and they're creating opportunities for players further afield.
Greaves is having a few good minutes in this game as well, Don.
It's good to see, isn't it? So directed at me, Cam. Do you think I've been a bit harsh on him? He had 8 touches last week, mate.
Back in the middle we go. But I just feel like he's a player that can get Castlemaine back into this game while having a good performance this afternoon. One forward by the Dragons. They'll send it out of the middle. Inside forward 50. Mark is taken by Tanner Nally. Long sleeves. He goes with a short pass, but it's a wasted pass. Green was leading out, but turning around and taking the mark will be Ryan Eyre. Eyre will clear to the far side wing for the Magpies. They've got options down the line. Kick finds its way into the hands of, might be Watson down there. Got it to Philo. Philo in the middle of the QEO. Will slow things down. It's been a much better few minutes from the Magpies. They're not wasting the ball going forward at the minute. They're happy to try and hold a bit of possession. He'll send it down towards the top of 50. Hartley's the target. He'll have to come from too deep to get there, and he might have infringed. And he did. Free kick will go the way of the Dragons. It'll be Ireland who'll chip it short, and he'll find Jake McLean.
McLean, half-back for the Dragons. You spread it further wide. Finds Hood, Lockie Hood of the Dragons. Goes backward and finds Island. So they're going to horseshoe in and out here, the Dragons. Ruff getting involved. Plays on from the back zone. Just casually. Puts it over the top. Paul Quick puts his teammates under pressure. Castlemaine, it's going to be a turnover here. Murley, probably he's still in the contest. Should have done a little bit better than Murley. They had the chance, and then Dragons killed it with a stoppage, and still 50 from home. We're going to have a ball up.
Yeah, that's better from the Castlemaine forwards, though. They certainly kept the pressure on Sandhurst and didn't allow them out.
Butcher won it down, but it's going to be sent forward for the Dragons. It's bouncing ball, bounces over the head of Wilkinson, but then it fell nicely for Sutherland. He can clear off half-back, send it down the wide towards Greaves. Couldn't quite take the mark, spills to the ground. Dragons will clear it out. They'll send it down the wing, grandstand side. Eventually happy to see it over the boundary line. Might be a free kick for a push, I reckon, here. It's going to go the way of the Dragons. Another unnecessary free kick goes to Nick Stagg. And what would have been a resulting throw-in is going to be a Sandhurst free kick. So Stagg will play on. No one on the mark for Castlemaine. He'll send it down the line. Maxted went back with the flight, couldn't take it. Coughlin got it. Then he was taken in the tackle by Wilkinson holding the ball. So Liam Wilkinson will receive the free kick. Will quickly wheel and go into the middle. It's a dangerous kick, but it works out okay. It's into the hands of Murley. So Murley's got it. If he didn't hold that, he had 2 Sandhurst players lurking on him, so he did well. We'll send a high ball. Henderson will come forward. Spills off hands to the back of the pack. Dragons can recover. Tarju was clean. Then he fed it out to a handball. Might have been Layden over there. He went backwards to Ireland. Then Ireland chips it out of bounds on the full. A few unnecessary mistakes creeping into this game for the Dragons. The Magpies have put the furnace on a little bit. Short pass to Henderson. He
been given the mark.
Gets a free, yep.
I wasn't sure if he was getting the mark paid or a chop of the arms. Either way, Henderson's got it. 55 out from home. We'll chip it back into the pocket. Mark is taken. Is this Moran?
I don't reckon it is.
Neither do I.
Tyson Hickey.
In the blue boots down there. Tyson Hickey, is it? They've got the same colour boots on those two. Don't see too many of those aqua boots flying around. He'll chip it in, and that's a nice pass to Henderson, who makes a lead from outside the 50, but he gets it 10 metres in from the boundary. Be a tough kick from here, though, but if he goes back and kicks this one, all of a sudden we're back to a 2-goal ball game.
He probably needs to. He turned his back on it, so let's hope he puts that one through. As the previous coach, never turned the back on the goals, John.
No, why are you looking at me, Don?
Because you would have done that, but you would have slotted it.
No, yeah, I thought you were making a point by looking at me and turning your back to the play. You're nervous for this one as well.
So 10 in from the boundary, right-hand forward pocket, poolside change rooms. Bailey Henderson will come in.
The only thing I'm nervous about Bailey is I think that's his ankle, but if he slots that, his ankle's looking okay. At least he'd come off his boot well.
Well, the distance was no issue at all. It just goes to the left-hand side through for a minor score. 3 goals 4, playing 6 goals 3, 17-point margin. Score sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder.
Well, if you think Castlemaine gets just another one on the board, it just puts that little bit of scoreboard pressure back on the Dragons. Now, Jake McLean's got it in the back half. To free, back to McLean. They're all 1-2, and he might get it further afield. They're running in waves here off the half-back. They're good at this. It's free, into the middle. Turnover cause now. Magpies with possession. Hickey gives it there to Slingo. Slingo, he's got a player on wide. Spots up Johnny Watson, who's been quiet in this second half, and it's a mark by the Magpies in the forward 50, and the coach, Hartley, has taken a mark.
Well, he won't have any issue with the distance based on his last shot from here.
No, when he flushes them, he hits them really, really well. It'll be just with the accuracy. He's been a little bit unreliable with his accuracy, but if he flushes it, well, we've seen him flush one early, and he hit it beautifully. So fingers crossed for Castlemaine. Going with you, Huntsman, if we get this one.
He's had a shot already.
No, he short passed it.
Well, he didn't muck around. And Bailey Henderson.
No.
Is it?
Greaves. Put your big goggles on.
My big goggles on? Well, has he kicked a goal or he hasn't kicked a goal? He hasn't.
No, he hasn't yet.
No, Greaves. And I thought, well, Henderson's strutting around there. He's got a bit of a life in his step now. Let's see what Greaves does. Directly in front. Makes the goal umpire work, but it doesn't matter. He slots it. So, Castlemaine all of a sudden are competitive again. Another goal. That'll take it, to 4-4-28. They're only trailing 6-3-39 midway through this second term. Score sponsor is Don, is good. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
It's just interesting in regards to Bailey Henderson. Last week with Cal Huntley up front, gives him a focus. Now, Bailey hurt his ankle late in that first quarter. Putting him up front, he's been dynamite. He's been terrific. So let's see if that continues.
Yes, and with Bailey up forward and also with Hartley up forward, their defence is holding up well too.
Back in the middle we go. Magpies charging. Philo couldn't quite take it cleanly. It was taken as soon as he grabbed the ball. Thought he was going to get through and just bang it forward on the run, but not able to do so. We'll have another ball up again. Magpies pressing. One forward. Ayres got it. Handball. Tarju couldn't quite take any clean possession, but it's kind of surging forward like a rugby scrum. It's gone about 15 metres closer towards the Castlemaine goal. Going towards the Barnard Street end. Again, they emerge with the footy. Going through Moran. Wharton got through, got a handball out somehow. Hartley thought about going straight out of the air. It worked out, though. It's going to be Franklin. Handballed it. They go backwards. This is better from the Magpies. Comes out to Murley. Murley gets it wide. And eventually Wharton, I think, will be happy to see it over the boundary line for the Dragons. But that was a little bit better from Castlemaine. They didn't just blaze away. They were able to hold possession and it'll result in the ball up. Yeah. Ball in, 60 out from goal.
Not looking good out at Maryborough. We're going to have a cricket score this afternoon, not half-time yet. Strathstorm have kicked 23 goals already.
That game did start at 1:30 though. So
was it earlier? Was it?
Early start.
Well, that makes it a little bit better. So, across half-back now. Dragons, they don't seem to have had inside forward 50 for quite a while. They've got possession of the footy now, and they're good at moving it off half-back. So, let's see what happens here. They've, in fact, caused a turnover, and Curtis McLennan wearing the 32. He had a jumper change. He actually told me he wanted to go the long sleeves before the game. So
I hope he brought a sand bucket. Have a look at the divot.
Yeah, he did. Big one. He's a big lad too. He's only 18, just turned. He's doing his VCE or whatever they call it nowadays at Castlemaine Secondary College. And that was the poorest kick I've ever seen going inside forward 50. It nearly came off. Moran was in the area and nearly received a handball. It just caused a turnover. Nelly up in the back half now. Spreads it wide. It might turn over again here. McLennan gives it to a teammate. They look okay here. It might have been Jackson getting involved again, but it is stoppage. And Sandhurst are under pressure.
Would have been under more pressure if Tyson Jackson didn't drop the handball.
That's right. It was given to him nicely. He was in the clear. All he had to do was grab hold of it and go.
So, ball up. Poolside wing. Coughlin for the Dragons. Couldn't quite take it. Jackson then dived on top of it, knocked the ball to ground. Spilling around. They work it out okay. Philo, umpire circling, lets it play, and then eventually pins are holding the ball. Free kick. Not sure how he got that out of all that. But it's going to be a free kick going the way of the Dragons.
I think there was a bit of an airy, Cam. Leg swing. Missed.
Arju will have it. Almost half back for the Dragons. We'll send it down the poolside wing. But a big congestion and coming through, taking a strong mark. Maxted against 3. He wheels around quickly, goes inside forward 50. It just sat nicely for Hood. Green's rolling back to the square. Hood spots him. Will send it there. Hartley got back. Did well to not infringe on the front on contact. Well done, Hartley. Spills out, and they get away with one there, the Magpies. So often they'll give away a free kick for front on infringement, but he played it really well. Magpies will clear it out of defence up towards half back. They'll clear it out 70 from home.
Just quickly, we talked about earlier taking the ball back in the direction that it came from. Castlemaine were on there. They had Moran and Watson in this pocket, and it went back directly where it came from.
Yeah, that's
to
right.
a 2v1.
Umpire will throw it back in
Just poor
on the wing.
making, isn't it?
They'll be looking for one here, the Magpies, just before half-time. Wouldn't that make things interesting? It's only a 11-point margin as it is. So Castlemaine have worked their way back into this contest. Up they go in the ruck. It's Butcher who won it for the Magpies. Gives it to McConaughey. McConaughey gives it to Philo. Magpies will go ahead again now. It spills to the back of the pack. Ball spills to Hood. Hood will send it inside forward 50. He's got a player breaking for him. Well, it might be Henderson with a footy. Oh, he shows a fleet of foot and backed it through for a goal. Magpies. Gee whiz. Score sponsor is Don is good. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. That takes the score to 5-4-34 to 6-3-39.
First quarter, we said Castlemaine didn't have an avenue to goal. Bailey Henderson hurts his ankle, goes up front, and there's our avenue right there. That is a terrific finish. Took him on and brought it back inside and then kicked around the corner and finished truly.
And as you said pre-game, Don, they've got plenty of players to run through the midfield, so they can afford to put Bailey Henderson forward. And it certainly worked for them in this second quarter. The second week in a row, we see Sandhurst with pressure on them going into half-time.
I'm not sure you'd see too many times when Sandhurst players are coming to the bench, lofting their arms like, we don't know. So Connick and Curnow are being questioned. Can they get their side back in? Ball goes forward for the Dragons. They work it to centre half forward. Stagg got it, fed out the handball wide. Palprat gave it off to the short pass, which was in the hand for Robinson. Robinson chips it into the pocket. And a mark is taken here by Oscar Perez. And you just feel like he needs to go back and kick this one just to steady the ship a little bit for Sandhurst, but probably poor marking inside defence then, Don.
Same thing. Turns his back on the goal. So
He's got to kick it now, that's right.
Yeah, he's written it down, Norm.
That's right, because you had Maxted and you had McLean both there as well.
Well, he goes back. He absolutely wastes no time. Plays on the kicks. An absolute shocker. And it's hard up against the boundary line. Free kick pucked out. Or it might be a Castlemaine free kick. I thought it was going to be a free kick to Sandhurst.
Sutherland. Let's see what
Glad
they
you
do
said
here.
pucked then.
Plucked.
Gee, I was in a bit of a
No,
sweat.
it wasn't me Jackson Saunders moment. We won't mention what he said on air a couple of years ago. Magpies will chip the ball back short. In the hands of Murley. He'll clear the ball out of defence. It should be a chance for Greaves. He'll have to come from behind and fly, and he does. Takes a strong mark. Quickly handballs off. Now they can get the run to Woodman. Paddles it forward. Didn't quite sit for him, and then he overran the footy. Dragons will turn it over. It'll be Jake McLean who will send it down to Perez. Hard up against the boundary line, but he's just in play. 60 from home. He'll wheel onto the right foot, go looking for Green. Kick just carried over him, but it's punched forward. At the front of the pack there for the Dragons was Robinson. Robinson feeds off the handball to Stagg. Stagg's flying shot, minus score. But they can't find themselves a goal. Castlemaine,
But this is
only a goal down.
It's got to go to the other side of the ground.
40 playing 34, 23 minutes gone. It's an absolute shocker of a kick, but it might work out okay for Air.
How far is he going?
And out. He picked it up, and it's going to be a turnover.
Great to Stagg.
Can Fergus Green pick it up? He can't. Oh, I don't know what happened then. He just kind of was a little bit too laconic, and a mark's being taken by the coach, Hartley. Hartley short, Murley of the Magpies. Dare I say it?
He tried to dribble it through, and then Hartley was just able to smother it on the line like a rugby player going for a try.
Sandhurst are a little bit rattled here. Oh, they just need to take a deep breath. They probably need the half-time bell to come just to calm things down.
So get the ball back in your hands and just take the heat out of it.
Hood now goes to the pocket. They'll set themselves. Green was the target. Polpratt's front and centre. Wharton emergence. Give it to a teammate who'll send it along. Might be Perez. Now it's to the top of the square. Magpies under pressure. How will they respond? Oh, Maxted just picked it up, dribbled it forward again, and they're going to muck another one up. Under pressure, so another 1 point. Takes it to 42, playing 34. 24 and a half gone second term.
And this is where Castlemaine need to do the same. They're under a bit of heat now, so they just control the ball.
So playing that defensive goal line, Ryan Eyre will clear the ball with a high ball down the far wing, but it carries the pack mark taken for the Dragons. They can come into the middle of the ground. It'll look for Smith, who's back on the ground after having issues with his shoulder. He looks to be all strapped back up and good to go. Almost dead smack in the middle of the QEO. Sends a high ball inside forward 50 on the right. It'll be an intercept mark. And
Wilkinson.
Yes, well read by Wilkinson then. He watched the flight of the ball and kept his eyes on it.
It was Robinson the target, but Wilkinson was able to float in front. Told to play on. We'll switch the kick across the ground.
Look at the kick.
It's a dangerous kick, but it might work out okay. McLennan picks it up. Short pass.
You just want
Didn't
possession
quite
of
find
the
its
footy.
target. It'll be picked up by Lockie Hood. He'll bang it inside forward 50, and it's just a game of turnovers at the moment. His kick's gone straight to Ryan Eyre, who's standing all on his own. He quickly plays on, finds the ball. Magpies can now work their way through the middle. It'll come up to McConaughey. Couldn't quite take it cleanly. Tarju's got the defensive pressure. McConaughey picked it up, taken in the tackle, spills to the ground. Magpies are still working. They'll work it forward. Slingo, it comes out wide. He was pushed as he went to kick, which was Hood. He might have been going for goal. Sandhurst will be able to hold on. They'll chip it short, and here's Deacon Andrews on debut for the Magpies in the last line of defence.
For the Dragons to Tardru. Short pass. I think you're right, Don. Why don't both sides just slow it down? This is just...
Yeah, the kamikaze football by both sides at this stage.
So where's their leadership on the ground from both teams?
They need a Harmit Singh. That's what the type they need, just to take a mark.
And I tell you what, wouldn't Sandhurst love to have Bryce Kerner on the
I was
field
going to say, their leader on the ground is sitting on the bench.
So Perez receives on the wing for the Dragons. He'll spread it wide. In fact, he goes backwards again, so... This is a little bit of a better build-up. They go to know what they know best. McLean, 15-metre ball forward. It's play on. It was terrible. They've got numbers, though, across half-back. Hurried kick. Keating sets himself. One-on-one. Takes a strong contested mark on the wing.
Yeah, he does. He plays on. Down the line he goes looking for Hood, but it didn't quite find its target, and it's knocked down by McLennan. Dragons just a little bit fumbly going through for the Magpies. There was Murley, but he wasn't able to take it. And I tell you what, if you're a Castlemaine supporter, you would not be disappointed at all with that quarter. They are right in this contest. And the Dragons look a little bit stunned. Plenty of hands on hips from both sides. They're exhausted. It's just been a back and forward contest at the moment. But the halftime score sees the Sandhurst Dragons 6-6-42 to Castlemaine 5-4-34.
Yeah, interesting to note that as soon as that siren sounded, Bryce Kerner was straight out to his forwards trying to get them to work out what they can do to keep control of the football, because he was just pointing at where they should have been and telling players what they should be doing.
With 3 minutes to go, with both teams on edge, they both looked panicky, didn't they?
They did, yes.
And so, you know, the whole scenario then is that clubs right now train for that last 3 minutes of a quarter, and then if you get lucky and you get up front, and then you get a chance to score, you take it. But if you get the possession of the footy, it's keeping's off time. It's control the ball, take the heat out of the game, make the opposition man up, and control it to just see it into finish. And that frenetic finish that we just saw then, you saw how it finished. They all had their hands on their hips, and they're all bent over because they've just played themselves into exhaustion by just playing, and you mentioned it, kamikaze crazy footy.
Yes, it was that kamikaze crazy footy to finish the quarter. You would think that out of the two sides, Castlemaine would be more happy with where they sit on the scoreboard than what Sandhurst are. The Castlemaine boys, to their credit, Sandhurst were good enough to stop Castlemaine coming out of defence and keeping hold of the football, but Sandhurst, they were the ones that were the nervous ones, Don, and just banging the ball forward. And we saw it last week against Strathstorm too, and it wasn't until halfway through the last quarter that they started to play some controlled football. If it goes that far today, we're going to have a good finish on our hands.
But the control of the ball, there was no pressure from either side when they had the ball in their hands, and they had an unpressured kick to try and find a target, and they even missed those. So when they did try to do it, they basically turned in that frenetic footy again, grasped the ball, numbers around, another contest, another fight, who can take the ball and win it back in their hands. But, you get a mark, the game stops. So control it, own it, slow it down, get your head over the footy, and hit those fundamental skills with both sides were making the errors. Like we saw Jake McLean, you called it, John. You said that they switched the ball and went back to come forward, and then he decided to I'm going to go now, and he's ran through the middle of the ground, and instead of hitting up Tardru, he grasped it.
You'll both appreciate this because we've all played footy and we've gone through, some of us more hard pre-seasons than the others, but it seems to me that it's always the simple things that you do time after time after time. And look at the Sandhurst Dragons here. They've just brought us in an absolute magnificent feast.
They have, haven't they?
I'll have to throw to a break if this keeps up. But we practice those basic skills time and time after again, and it's those basic skills that always let you down, because there were times there where both sides, and even for Castlemaine's perspective, they had a chance to really put scoreboard pressure, and it's on there now on Sandhurst by simple, basic dropping of marks and not executing the delivery of the ball correctly.
But the size of the ground, the ability to find space by both teams, it comes down to your willingness to run, create, and provide options for the team. But you can see there is that both teams were hands on hips, and no one didn't want to take that on, didn't want to run that little 15 metres extra to find a release. There's always a +1. Sandhurst played their footy around a +1, and they just didn't control it either. Castlemaine held on, to be honest, because they could have easily, in that late in the game, had two or three goals scored against them. So credit to the defence, credit to the mids getting back and supporting the defenders. Liam Wilkinson was good in the latter part of that, but same thing, opportunity to kick the ball to a player to stop the game and fail to do so.
So who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? You use that word delivery.
Good cover.
Yeah, good cover. Now, who would have thunk it that Castlemaine would be competitive to half-time? They were last week, so we're under no illusions that the Dragons may kick away. But boy, oh boy, we've got a contest on our hands. So if you're listening at home, don't go anywhere. If you're in the man shed, go and get yourself another cool drink, because it promises to be a big second half. In other games around Bendigo football, Maryborough, well, it's a sad state of affairs there. 25-25, 175. The Storm against Maryborough, 128. Gisborne down at the Graveyard lead Kangaroo flat, 88-56 to 3-2-20. And South Bendigo trail Eagle Hawk out at Harry Trott, 5-2-32. The Bloods, Eagle Hawk 7-11-53. And at halftime here, at the home of country football, the Queen Elizabeth Oval. A competitive Castlemaine right in this game up to half-time, 5-4-34. They trail the Dragons 6-6-42. Where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Alec Gordon was caught behind. Storm still working out. Comes out to Gill. Gill will snap on the right. He goes goalward. Lockie Gill.
Paul Pratt inside forward 50. A big high fly by Charles Dole of the Storm. A hurried kick inside forward 50 for the Dragons. It was Curnow. Goes to Connick. Connick goes around the body. Bouncing footy. And he slotted it.
He had to get his way out of trouble. He just got it, but he gave it to Gordon. Gordon gave it to Clossy. Clossy will dribble it through for a goal. Campbelled off to Ernst. Ernst gave it off to a teammate. Oh, the kick was smothered. It falls into the hands of Perez, and Perez will kick the goal. Something out of nothing for Oscar Perez. Stagg buys the handball back to Smith, and then Smith's got the shot for Harrison Free. He goes goalwards, and Harrison Free slots it.
Short then, Maxted. Now Maxted will kick it long. Connick, 3 deep, is on half back for the Storm. They'll release. Series of handballs. On the end of it was Stevens. Gives it, and the old one too. They're sharing it around beautifully. 3 or 4 handballs in a row, and now they're out. It ended up with Charles. Charles, he's got to play all on his own, and it's Gordon. Gordon by hand gives it to Riley Wilson, and we'll run into an open goal.
The Storm are going to get the ball at the back. It's going to be Sheehan who goes goalwards. That was Abe. It spills. Shishka was able to soccer it off the ground.
But here,
Probably the biggest one.
no, it's not. But it was Perez who won it out of the middle for the Dragons. But they've been really good, the Storm, as Tananelli kicks a goal and extends the lead.
To John Hunter, who has the final say. But the game is all said and done here at Strathfield Say, and the Strathfield Say Storm have gone down, but they wouldn't have lost any admirers today.
It's the Bendigo Football Netball League top 5 for round number 8. Coming in at number 1, Zach Bolger here from Eaglehawk. He had to think quick. He got it, snapped it, put it through the goals. Great work there, Zach. Coming in at number 2, we love a big climb here. John Coe from Golden Square takes off and takes a great mark in defence as well, if you don't mind. Coming in at number 3, it's Bailey Henderson here from Castlemaine. Gives the don't argue. Spears a pass in. Follows his work up, which is impressive. Gets it and bends it back all the way home. A brilliant goal there, Bailey. Number 4, it's Jack Stewart here from Golden Square. Tucked against the boundary line. A plethora of players in front of him. He snaps it. Oh, yes, he does. What a great goal by Jack Stewart. Number 5 sees Caleb Connick from Sandhurst here take a really strong mark. Knee in the shoulder. Took a beautiful grab.
Big, long, gangly arms, and he clunked it.
11 degrees. Melbourne's weekend forecast. Mostly cloudy. Overnight lows of 8 and 5 and tops of 14 and 13 degrees Sunday.
Did you know we'll tell listeners all about your local event with our fresh, free and local updates? Email direct into the Fresh Studio. Requests at freshfmbendigo.com.au. Like to hear a song from the 70s, 80s or 90s? Requests at freshfmbendigo.com.au. Bendigo Fresh 101.5 FM across Central Victoria. Fresh online, download the free Community Radio Plus app.
We are keeping it fresh. Your local station, Bendigo's Fresh 101.5 FM.
It's halftime and I hope you're enjoying today's live Bendigo football match. Footy Fresh Central Victoria's local station has for more than 35 years broadcasted local live footy. Please support the local businesses that you hear during this broadcast, as it's local businesses that support your community football. After local band Darkside's weekend song, we return with more live Bendigo football.
Getting down an open highway, souls that seek, those that find, hidden fuse by Hackney. Same cold shivers, smoky hotel in this dead end town. Nameless heads and nameless faces. They can headed down an open highway. Those that seek and those that hidden fears fire back at me. Then cold shivers,
Only one local radio station for live local footy. Only one local station supporting live community sport across central Victoria. The people out walking know, even bus drivers know. And you know, it's Bendigo's Fresh. Thanks to local footy sponsor, more live Bendigo football. And now it's time to fire up delicious Don Footy Franks. They're made for the footy. Is Don, is good.
Half time here at the QEO. It is round 9 of the Bendigo Football League, and the Castlemaine Magpies are in town and ready to play. They are trailing 5-4-34 to Sandhurst, 6-6-42, a 4-goal to 1 quarter in favour of the Magpies. How'd you see the first half, Norm Jenkins? A very impressive second quarter from Castlemaine. Can they keep it going or maybe force this game into an upset?
It was an excellent second quarter for Castlemaine. They straightened their game up. They changed their structure. Unfortunately for Bailey Henderson, he got injured, but that was fortunate for Castlemaine because he's still able to play, and he demands the football when he goes forward. He's got 2 goals that quarter and been in their best. Liam Wilkinson down back also he kept control of the Sandhurst forwards. I like the way Johnny Watson goes about it up and down the ground. He's never stationary at any time. Xavier Murley got plenty of the football again in that second quarter as well, and I think the best player on ground so far is Ryan Ayres down back. He's been very good. He gets plenty of it. Very rarely does he waste a football. Sutherland also down back came into it, and Chester up forward early on had a little bit of a say, but wasn't able to put a score on the board. So Castlemaine well positioned at this stage. They've only kept Sandhurst to 4 goal kickers, and most weeks they've got 8, 9 or 10. So we'll see whether they can keep it going for another 50 minutes.
Well, it's about to get the second half underway where Castlemaine super competitive in that first half. Let's see if they can keep it under control. They trail Sandhurst 5-4-34 to 6-6-42. Where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo, here's the powerhouse, Cam Power.
Questions being asked of the Dragons. What response and answers will they come up with? Ball goes up. In the middle we go. It'll be one forward. Tarju gets it, just sends it forward. Hasn't had his massive impact on the game as he usually would. His kick's just fired straight inside forward 50 in a set mark taken by Hartley.
Hartley goes and finds Moran. Moran on right half back, broadcast side. Looked to go corridor, then thought against it. Now he dumps it down the line. 50-metre ball. Kicked it straight to Isaac Ruff. Turnover, Dragons. Inboard Tardrew receives. Tardrew looked to give off, but ignored that as well. Now he goes short. He's got a spread. He's got Maxted on. Maxted will turn and go. He's on the wing. Looking to build. He'll go inside forward 50 now. Big chance, Dragons. They set themselves. Fergus Green is the target. Magpies need to be careful. Kicks it off the ground. Whistle on play. Might get a free kick.
Holding the ball.
Holding the footy. And it's a free kick going the way of the Magpies.
Yep, Green just tried to break through and didn't make any contact with his boot. Magpies will clear the ball across half-back. They'll look to go down the pool side wing. Didn't take a great bounce on the far side of the ground, so it's picked up Palprat, and they feed it back to Smith. Smith to Ireland, and Ireland with a high ball inside forward 50. Hartley set himself in defence, was in front. Brought the ball to ground level where Simmons was. McConaughey's got it. Fed it back to Hartley, then back to Simmons, who tried to bomb it away. Then he managed to sell some candy. They're just mucking around with it up against the boundary line here. Eventually, they're going to have to kill it, and it'll be taken over in a Sandhurst tackle. In fact, it mightn't have quite carried the boundary line. So the ball up hard against the boundary, 48 metres out from goal, heading towards the Barnard Street end.
So it'll be the Magpies now that win it off half-back. Get the thoughts of Don Moran shortly as it's a turnover. The Dragons will go inside, deep inside forward 50. It's in the hot spot. It's right at the top of the square. The main need to be careful here as the ball is picked up and goes goalward. I reckon Staggs banged it on the left and popped it through for a well-needed goal. So the Dragons, the first one of the second half, they go to 7-6-48, leading Castlemaine 5-4-34. Early stages, third term. Score sponsor is Don is Good. Speaking of Don, local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo, Don Moran.
Definitely good, John. Definitely good. No, it was Stag.
What's that?
100%. Don't question me, Cam.
So, hot potato over on the pool side by Castlemaine defenders under pressure by Sandhurst. Can they just take it over the line to stop the game to then reset, regroup, find a player rather than hot potato and keep the ball alive? Now we've just seen them just have a goal kicked against them.
Back in the middle we go. 2 to Max there, 2 to Green, 2 to Stag now. Sandhurst will go inside forward 50 and it carries the pack. Hartley dropped the mark, spills out for Maxted. We'll send it back towards the top of the square, but Simmons will get back and take the intercept mark for the Magpies. Last line of defence. That first goal this quarter was always going to be huge, and it went the way of the Dragons. His short pass is okay. Hard up against the boundary line, deep in defence of the Magpies. They're going to come down the grandstand side wing. Murley's going to have to come from the side. He got there, and he almost could have taken it in the end. It spills to the ground. Castlemaine player down. That's Greaves, I think, who's down on all floors right in front of the contest, and Ruff's lurking around, hobbling around. So it's all happening in terms of injuries at the moment. Greaves back to his feet. Ruff gets rid of the trainer and trots off, but he's looking very proppy as the ball goes up. We'll have another ball up. And now both players are going to come to the bench, and as soon as they get over the line, they're looking very, very, very sore, John.
So it is a 32-point margin. Gisborne against Kangaroo flat down at the graveyard. Here, it is the Magpies trail 34-48. It's along the wing, right in front of us, broadcast side. Andrews getting involved for the Dragons. Also Ireland by hand, McLean by hand. Oh, pressure here, danger. And they're going to get out of it here, the Dragons. Just a little bit of a period there where I thought they were going to cough it up. Now they're out. Matthew Wilkinson, he's got a player that's running on. Keating dropped a marker that he should have taken. He's got enough time to collect. Now he picks up, short pass, short ball. He finds Maxted over the top. That's a poor handball, puts his teammate under pressure. Castlemaine calling for a free kick. They need to just kill it and take a deep breath here, the Dragons, and it will be a ball in.
Yes, coming back to that forward 50 entry before, or defence by Sandhurst, Chester just overcommitted. Had he waited, he would have been able to get hand the ball, and Castlemaine had the players there.
Round the grounds in the MCDF, Nell Denoli 7-10 leading Talbot, 2 goals, 1. Carisbrook 4-6-30, Navarre 5-4-34, and it is the Maryborough Giants 2-3-15, Natty Bialba 7-7-49.
Don Moran?
I was about to say that the point that Norm made was that Jack just went low percentage. He should have probably let the opposition player, the defender, get the ball and then just wrap it up and get a start.
So the ball's bouncing around on the far wing. Sandhurst player took possession there. It was Palprat. He dropped it, so free kick will be going the way of Murley across half back. Pool side wing. Murley sends it down the line looking for Henderson. Got his way to the front of the pack. Couldn't quite take the mark. Good defence from Ireland. Ball spills to ground. And we'll have another ball up. True centre wing position. Pool side here at the QEO, which earlier was bathed in sunshine, not so much now. Throw up on the far wing. Butcher won it down. Spilt forward. Island was playing in front for the Dragons. He'll clear off to Free. Back to Island. Then he handballs over the top. Got it back to Island. Now it spills out wide to Andrews on debut. His kick's a shaky one. Moran come through and forced the punch. Henderson went through with a big bump. Gave away the free kick. Advantage paid to Harrison Free. He'll chip down the line. And it'll be coughed up across half forward. And eventually
Called a push.
Didn't quite see what happened on that far side of the ground. And it's going to be a Sandhurst free kick. Umpire had a bit of a word to Bailey Henderson off the ball about that last play as well.
Matthew Wilkinson will go inside forward 50 for the Dragons, but it's a turnover. A mark's been taken by Harrison Sheen, who's been pretty quiet this afternoon. First time I've really called him. He goes to air to Slingo by foot. Magpies in possession in the back half. They're at the Barnard Street end. They're kicking to the city end. Slingo will send it to the swimming pool side. Jackson Hood, a big fist on play, puts it over the boundary line. Will have a ball in.
Yes, the Castlemaine boys have got to settle now because I believe they need the next goal to stay in this game. Another one, it then goes over 3 goals up and pressure starts to mount on them.
Big moments in this game. 7 minutes into the third quarter, and the game's still well and truly alive. 14-point margin to the Dragons. Thrown in. Philo couldn't quite take possession. It spills forward for the Magpies. Slingo's lurking down there. Couldn't quite take it. Sandhurst will then send a shallow ball inside forward 50. Maxted gets it. Pumps it in the green direction. It'll be an intercept mark for the Dragons in Michael Hartley. He clears quickly into the run of Wilkinson. Wilkinson was pushed as he kicked it, so the kick's just going to go straight to Alex Wharton. The poor kick out of defence. Wharton will quickly wheel around. Will chip it short to Free. He's starting to come in the game in this third quarter. He wheels around on the right. He was also pushed as he sent it inside forward 50. No mark taken, but the Castlemaine player playing in front, which I think is Wilkinson, will receive himself a free kick. He was infringed upon. He'll clear to the far wing.
Sends it to Slingo. And thanks to Paul Wicks. He's at Dalesford. This game a little bit of an interest for the locals out there. 7-3-45 against Carnham Linton. Half-time 4-7-31.
It's just a nothing kick. Seriously. It's just a kicking off his back step.
He gave it to the opposition.
Tyson Hickey. He just kicked off his back step. Seriously.
To Maxted. Maxted of the Dragons.
Sorry, John. Any wonder they turn it over when you do that.
And that, in fact, is what has happened. And now it's gone inside forward 50. Umpire let it go. Seesawing battle there. Tardrew strong in the contest. Equally as strong, I reckon, was Curtis McLennan of the Magpies. We've got a stoppage, 20 out from goal. Pretty much directly in front. Sandhurst in attack.
Yes, Castlemaine have to hold on here. They've either got to kill the ball through for a point or get a clear disposal by holding on to it.
Well, there's a lot of players around the footy. Coughlin emerges into the Dragons. Then it spills free. They're doing well. Lloyd Butcher on the end of a handball by McConaughey. Now it's Henderson. They're working it on the outer side wing. Short pass received. Jackson Hood. He'll come corridor. Who's he got? Johnny Watson's by himself. They need to build something here. It's a good option. Here they go. Keogh Franklin. He's got a player on by himself sitting at the top of the goal square. And the Magpies will get a goal here. It'll be a settle down kick by Jack Chester, is it?
25 out directly in front. I'm pretty sure we heard Don say earlier he wouldn't back him from here.
Don won't be watching this one. No, good passage of play there by Castlemaine there. That's what they had to do. They either had to kill the ball through for a point or they had to take control of it, and they were able to run it from one end of the ground with hardly a Sandhurst player touching it.
10 minutes in this third term. The Magpies are still in this game after Jack Chester puts another one through to tighten the margin up to 8 points. 48 playing 40. Score sponsor JB Restumping. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yeah, no moz on him there, was there? So he went back and flushed that absolutely beautifully. So great play. Started with a loose ball down back from Will Moran, handballed the ball across to Tyson Hickey. Tyson Hickey linked up, and you can see what happens. They bring it back in the corridor, and great option by John Watson at the end to find. He could have gone to one-on-one, but he managed to find the spare, which was, what's his name? Young Ashton Keogh was the one that he found beautifully there. It's across half forward.
So back in the middle we go. One down and knocked forward by Hood, who's gone in the ruck for the Castlemaine Magpies. Lurking across half back, Jackson picked it up. He was pounced upon as soon as he did. Ball spilt out the bottom of the pack. Spills out. McConaughey. He fed off the handball. They're able to find a way through. That handball is poor, though. But eventually it might turn over. It's going to be sent back inside forward 50. It's going to go in the Henderson direction. He used his body nicely. Didn't infringe. And the kick was placed absolutely perfectly where he wanted it from Matt Philo. And Henderson marks 30 metres out. Slide angle. He looks like he's going to go the snap instead of the traditional drop punt, though.
John, that turned back the clock. Did you see a little bit of Philo magic then? Yeah. See that balk?
A lovely balk. Sold a bit of candy and then a lovely kick at the end to Henderson, who was in nice position against his opponent.
So he snaps around his body and it hits the post. That would have been a big goal from Henderson.
We've seen 4 posters today.
I'm
two
still
by
a
each
traditionalist.
side.
I think you've got to back yourself from a set shot there as opposed to snapping around. But that's the modern way of footy. 7 points the margin now. 11 minutes gone in the third quarter.
So it'll be free that plays on from the Dragons, from full-back. Sends it wide, swimming pool side. If you ever thought Castlemaine was a chance, they've got to kick those type of goals. Maxted takes the mark for the Dragons. Kicks it to half forward. Good defensive punch. Magpies.
Johnny Watson.
Came from Johnny Watson and he puts it out of bounds. We'll have a ball in.
Strange that when you take it out of bounds, the game stops, reset, man up, ready to go. Reset behind the ball and in front of the ball and around the contest. Nice work, John Watson.
Yeah, once again, good work by John Watson. He was down here in this last passage of play and then he's up in defence helping his defenders with the kick in.
Throw in on the far wing. Pull side of the ground here at the QEO. Hood's gone in the ruck for the Magpies. Coughlin merged his way through, managed to get it off. Sexton had a bit of an air swing. Spilt out. Now it's emerged with Murley. Murley goes backwards to Watson. The man of the moment, Johnny Watson, sends it down to Bailey Henderson. Shoved his American under the ball. Ball stayed alive. Castlemaine probably would have rather it went over, though, because it's a swooping swarm of Sandhurst Dragons players. They'll work it forward. Tarju, he got it off. Inside forward 50 they go. Michael Hartley leads out, takes the mark as if he's playing as a full forward, but he was the defender there. Marks it in his above his head, and he'll chip it out of defence for the Magpies, and they'll look to reset as it goes into the hands of Philo.
You've got to be disappointed as a Sandhurst forward there. The chain that they did to bring that ball through there, and then Jake McLean to turn that over.
Philo went back to Hartley. He goes to Air.
No.
Oh, it's a poor turnover in the goal square.
That's a shock.
Air, a shocking mistake. He's just handed a Christmas present to Fergus Green. And when all the momentum is with Castlemaine, the Dragons get one on the board. 8-6-54 to 6-5-41. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers, who incidentally have our $100 award this afternoon for best on ground. There are a number of players in the running for that. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yes, disappointing by Castlemaine there because they'd had control of this quarter up until then and had control of football for most of the quarter. Sandhurst, to their credit, though, they stuck at it, and Fergus Green, he'll make no mistake when he's handed one on a platter like that.
So that green Sandhurst sign going up in front of us must mean go. The red on the back must mean stop. But the Dragons are looking to kill this game in the third quarter, which is known as the Premiership quarter. Air will work it out defence. He was bumped as he got rid of the kick, and he went down looking for the intended target, which was Greaves, but it will be intercepted by Isaac Ruff. Ruff will chip short to Nally. Nally will then work his way down the wing. His kick was okay. Out onto the lead. Couldn't quite take it, was Lockie Wright. Good defensive fist from behind by Liam Wilkinson.
Beg your
We'll
pardon?
get it thrown in. A good defensive fist from Wilkinson. We'll get it thrown in. Centre wing position in front of the Castlemaine bench, wasting no time. Philo tried to shark the ball, got it forward. Greaves will come out. Got an okay bounce and then just slapped it towards the boundary line. And, well, if we're playing AFL, that is as clear as they come. There's no way that would not be a throw in. But we'll get it thrown in. That should be paid as an insufficient intent. Surely you can't just slap the ball over the boundary line 10 metres out like that, surely.
Umpire will throw it in. Castlemaine need to get that one back. They've got possession. Slingo. Then he won it, lost it, then won it again by hand over the top by Philo. Philo to Semmons. Semmons now, he probably got pushed when he kicked it and kicked it out of bounds on the full, so the Dragons will get a free kick.
Yes, you get the feeling that Castlemaine are dropping back into their first quarter woes. Get the ball, kick it forward. When they get near forward 50, they're not looking for fellow teammates.
Handing Fergus Green a goal like that just sucks the air out of you if you're a backman, don't you? I mean, he's going to kick goals at the worst of times, let alone give it to him like that. So it is Smith now for the Dragons. He spotted a player, loose check in Castlemaine. It's going to be a free kick. The Dragons have it. they'll get a shot on goal on a pretty tight angle. And it's that man again, Fergus Green. And they left him alone in the first place. Why?
I don't understand. All you got to do is just stay with him, go with him, check his body when the ball comes in. But there was no one within 15 metres of him. And he's their key forward.
And it was either a mark or a
Do
free
I
kick.
sound frustrated?
Oh,
Very. As an ex-defender
Yeah, that's nothing
and a
wrong.
quality player, you get to play on these blokes and you don't let them do that.
Nothing.
Embarrassing, John.
Well, let's see what happens with this one,
Who's
Donald.
that quality?
So let's go. Fergus Green straightens the Dragons up and just gives them a bit of breathing room now. They go to 9-6-60, leading Castlemaine. 6-5-41. That's his fourth score sponsor. Jason Westcott, builder. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
All right, Norm said Castlemaine back to old days. Yep, feeding the ball back. Sandhurst pressure, pushing up on them, trapping them. All they need is one ball, handball through forward to then get behind the numbers to then run off that key point. But they kept feeding back, and then poor Darby Simmons get pressured to kick it out on the full, and then we see a poor checking defence, another Fergus Green goal.
I'm still wondering who said quality. Was it self-indulged quality player?
From him?
Back in the middle we go. No, you said you were a quality player back in the day.
No, I was talking about Fergus, not me, mate.
Oh, talking about yourself.
He doesn't know his football history in Bendigo, obviously.
Working forward.
Donald.
Thanks,
There's going to be a chance for Greaves, who's got Henderson inside forward 50. All he had to do was kick it, but he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. It's come off the wrong side of the foot.
Well, he did, Cam. He did kick it, but look where
Too hard. Yep.
Nearly kicked it into the canteen.
In the wrong direction to where Henderson would have liked it, because he had some space if the kick was good, but Dragons will get away with it. Rough will run 10 metres. Then he just stops. What does he want to do with it? He stops, has a cup of coffee and a biscuit, then he decides to handball across. Now they'll work it out. Stagg will clear out of defence for the Dragons. Up the line he goes. Mark is taken. Palpert. Down the line he goes. His kick didn't quite find its intended target, bouncing over the head and out of bounds for a boundary throw in on the far wing.
But once again, far too easy for Sandhurst to come out of that back 50. They were able to switch the ball, hold on to it, draw the Castlemaine players forward and then go forward themselves and get out over the back.
Bailey Henderson chased 3 defenders. Where was the rest of the forwards?
So the umpire will throw it back in. We're across half forward, Dragons in attack. Swimming pool side. They kick to the Barnard Street end. Lloyd Butcher wins it for the Magpies at ground level. Emerging with the footy was himself. And then put it to the outer side wing. It might have gone out of bounds on the full. And it did. It might be a free kick to Harrison Free, or a penalty kick, as you call them now, Cam. So
did it go on the full? Was it an insufficient intent finally played?
I don't think it went on the full.
The boundary umpire didn't know, so it's going to be a throw-in.
So that's not a bad result.
No, it was too far away.
I was going to say, otherwise it was a clear as day insufficient intent. Again, if we were watching the AFL,
it was a good
we just
result.
don't see them paid in Bendigo footy. It's been my gripe over the last few weeks. Not a rule in this competition. Players are exploiting it.
Well, it is.
Butcher will win it down. Well, it doesn't seem to be. Henderson will get caught behind, as he doesn't very often. And Tananelli, who did it up forward last week, has gone back and is starting to have an impact on Henderson there. He'll chip into the middle of the ground, find his way into the hands of Keating. Keating to Wharton. Wharton will then send the high ball inside forward 50. No mark taken by Oscar Perez. Can Castlemaine clear the way out of defence? A dangerous handball back into the congestion, but no one's going to find their way through there. Eventually it spills out. Keating, he dropped the footy when he was tackled. Play on the call. Moran down in the middle of the ground as we watch as Hickey tried to emerge with it, and he's taken. In fact, it was Jackson, who emerged with the footy, and he was taken as he broke free, and he was caught holding the ball. Free kick will go the way of the Dragons. It'll be in the hands of Ruff.
It was Cooper Smith, in fact. He goes to Lockie Hood. Hood by hand back to Smith, who ran on. Smith will go inside forward 50 now, but Hartley intercepts for the Magpies. Playing down back a lot this afternoon. He played most of his footy at Essendon down back, if I recall rightly, and also a little bit at the Hawks. So he's no stranger to that area. As he kicks it to the outer side wing, as Lockie Hood did well for the Dragons, causes a stoppage.
Is that Moran still down in the middle of the ground?
And we'll have another ball up.
Yeah, someone's hit him off the ball.
He was down for a good 45 seconds. Eventually he gets back up and he's heading straight to the boundary line, sucking in the big ones. Sandhurst player took the mark across half back, and Henderson knocked the ball out of his hands. I think it'll be a free kick and a 50-metre penalty.
The player went to play on, and Henderson smothered it, and the umpires said, well, you can't move on the mark. Well, as soon as the player goes to kick, the umpire's meant to call play on.
Well, I would have thought you'd be allowed to try and smother the kick, but free kick, Henderson was dirty. Inside forward 50.
Well,
Morton will take the mark, 50 out from goal. 10 metres in from the boundary, right-hand forward pocket.
It's one of those things, isn't it? You just...
Yeah, you've got to wait till the
stand
umpire calls it's a stand rule, and Henderson smothered because the bloke come right up to him to kick it. And
so
what do you
Morton,
do?
From just inside the paint of 50, he's gone goalwards. He might have kicked the goal here. He has. He celebrates it, and the Dragons are just starting to skip away a little bit here. 10-6-66, playing 7-5-41, and the Dragons get a big goal from Alex Wharton. Score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo, and that Bendigo City Framers also sponsoring our Best on Ground award for $100 today as our sponsors award.
I'm with you, Norm. That decision takes away from game sense of a player. So,
that's right.
Bailey sensed that was going to happen, and then he reacted, but then the rule says you can't.
He actually didn't move his feet.
So
He
instinctively,
didn't move his feet. He just went down and smothered. Well, that should be play on because he didn't move.
Now the Dragons will win it out of the middle again from the restart. Oscar Perez on the end of it. So he's on left half forward. He'll go short. He's got a player on McLean. This is Jake McLean. The man on the mark stands at 50. He pokes it inside forward 50 to a pack of players. Front and centre is Lockie Hood. Goes round the body. And, geez, he's lucky that Hartley was standing on the goal line for the Magpies. Takes a mark, and he will spread it wide to the outer side wing and hits up McConaughey.
So McConaughey will send it down to Henderson. Full-time score from from Maryborough as well. Full-time, of course, earlier start, Maryborough 1-8. Strathfield say 34-30, 234 is the full-time score there. As the kick goes down the line, another disappointing day for the Maryborough Magpies.
Yeah, Sanders starting to get control in the air, especially through the midfield.
So Ruff's got it. We'll send a high ball up towards forward 50. Just carried over the fly from Castlemaine, spills to ground. Magpies will work it to Henderson. Henderson can chip short and find its way into the hands of Murley.
Murley now.
50-metre penalty for Castlemaine. You hear the Bronx cheers in the background.
So Murley, let's see what the real estate salesman's like. They're all running forward. So off he goes. He plays on. He's got Henderson running shotgun. Left half forward the ball is now in the hands of Henderson. He'll go long. He'll go to the top of the square. Greaves is the target, but it fell short. It was a poor kick. Ended up with Ruff. Ruff laterally from one back pocket to the other. In front of us, broadcast side now. McLean by hand to Perez. Perez wants to give it back. Needs to be careful. A little bit too easy now. It's McLean again. The old 1-2. Tries to hit up Stagg. Turnover. Simmons. Another turnover. Back to Stagg. Stagg bangs it on the boot and sends it to half forward.
It bounces out of bounds. Simmons was looking to give the handball to Hartley. It probably just wasn't on there, unfortunately, that handball.
Which one?
The one from Simmons trying to give it back in.
I was coming back to that one there where they had him trapped and corralled, and Nick Woodman went to the 2v1 on the ball, left the guy out.
Yep, that's right.
That was in the pocket.
Yep.
So Sandhurst are on the paint of 50, attacking goal. They have kicked 4 goals to 1 this quarter, as Castlemaine did in the second quarter, kicking 4 goals to 1. So all their hard work to get back into it. It's kind of even back out to where we sat at quarter time. Ball go up at the paint of 50. Maxted, he had an air swing, but no one was tackling him, so it can't be holding the ball. Spills out. Philo to Simmons. Sold some candy, then put himself under a bit of pressure. Had to go back to Murley, who's taken in a strong tackle over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in.
Backline
There's a whistle.
Backline frustration.
There's
John.
a whistle here, and it's going to be a Castlemaine free kick. Might have been some chirp off the ball, maybe by Oscar Perez. The umpire was having a chat to him, and he's on the mark. So, free kick Castlemaine. It's the only logical thing I can come up with there to why it's a free kick.
It's Hickey.
He's just going to send it down the line. It's an absolute shocker. Out of bounds on the full. But Norm, that Sandhurst play looked like he moved a little bit as well as the kick was taken then. So I didn't see any different to what was happening with Henderson
that's right. You've got to get consistent. Players move on the mark as soon as a player steps off. And if the umpire doesn't call play on, then it's a free kick.
Yeah, it's well, it's red hot at the AFL. They need to be just, you're right, Norm, consistent there. So it's Tardrew, who's been relatively quiet today compared to the other games we've seen him in, and that was a poor kick. He kicked it straight to the opposition in Philo, just a fingertipper, and it goes over the boundary line, and it will be a ball in about 20 around from goal. Dragons attack. Barnard Street end. Umpire will throw it in. It'll be Wright doing the ruck work for the Dragons. Hood did well for the Magpies. There's two Hoods, as Cam said out there.
And they're both in 22.
Both in 22, and they're both in a similar area at the moment. So, but one's in black and white and one's in maroon and blue. As you can tell, it's an ugly bit of play because we'll have a stoppage, another whistle, 20 metres out from goal. It's the Dragons. Three-quarter time out at Mount Pleasant. 11-3-79 versus Huntley 5-3-33. And Colburn Abbon 10-13-73. Lee Heathcote 5-8-38.
Yeah, the wheels seem to be falling off at Pigeon Park for Heathcote this year. All the talk in the pre-season and having a disappointing run at the moment. Colburn Abbon, in good result back here at the QEO. The last few minutes have just been a real scrap, haven't they, John? Yeah. Norm, just scrappy stoppage after stoppage.
Yeah, it's been a real slog, but Castlemaine have got to hold on here. They must get the clearance away. They can't allow Sandhurst to get another goal.
Well, every single player in the ground is forward of 50, and there's only two players not inside the forward 50, and they're both Sandhurst players. So if it comes out, it's going to go back in. Henderson's lurking through, couldn't quite take possession, still spilling. Sandhurst eventually find a way. It's going to be a chance for Smith. It fires out. Picked up by Free. He goes backwards to go forwards. Laden to Wharton. Got it out.
Missed tackle.
Sent inside forward 50. Might be to mean Keating. Into the pocket. Intercept mark will be taken by Liam Wilkinson.
Wilkinson been good for the Magpies. Short path from his defensive zone to Murley. Zave Murley. Goes to Air. He's been quiet, Norm, now, ever since you said that he was in line for our sponsored award from Bendigo City Frame with a $100 voucher as the ball goes out of bounds.
Yes, he has gone quiet, but he's still been one of Castlemaine's best player for the day so far.
Yeah, they've had a few good... Murley's been okay too. He's had his hands on the footy a little bit, but...
Just on that last play, Matt Philo took the mark and got tackled when he took the mark and then ended up out of bounds.
Matt Philo, that man, wins his footy now.
Free.
Yeah, totally.
Up the chimney. It's a poor kick. Goes to Wilkinson. That's Matthew. Or Ireland, he probably had a little bit of a look then. He probably should have marked that and didn't. It's now contested footy. Across half forward, Dragons in attack. Dragons will emerge. And it might be a turnover. Murley picks it up with one hand. Now he swoops. Handball just to nobody in particular. It's now the Dragons. Ireland getting involved. Smith's in the middle. Hurried kick out of the pack by the Magpies.
Yeah, he bounces forward. Watson was a chance, but it's just a scrappy passage of play.
So look at the clock.
You're pointing at something here.
No, the clock. It's 28:32. So basically, same as what we spoke to.
Control the ball.
So control the ball. But like Evan Zave then, take the tackle, get a restart, and rather than cough it up.
But I also did look when Castlemaine had possession of the ball. There's two Sandhurst players inside their defensive 50 and not one Castlemaine forward of the ball.
So don't spill the footy.
So if it goes forward, it's at worst going to be coming straight back. So the Magpies have done exactly that, which I hate to say I told you so, but the kick's gone straight to a defensive player for Sandhurst. They'll switch across the ground. Now they can come to Wharton, and they are out on this far side. The kick didn't quite bounce nicely for Wharton, so Greaves will be able to come and put some pressure on. Picked it up cleanly. He broke off the Wharton tackle, then fired the handball forward. Going through Andrews. The first game was collected hard but fair. Magpies might get out of this one here. Semmons will chip it out. Mark should be taken here by Greaves. He can go inside forward 50, but there's got 5 Sandhurst players, and now 2 Castlemaine players have just wandered into the 50 to make it 5-on-3. So he's looking around for something, saying, give me something. They're all screaming behind the ball. Eventually he's going to bomb it forward, and Sandhurst will fly for an uncontested mark.
Free kick to Butcher.
What happened, Norm?
He was heading towards the ball, and Isaac Ruff just stood in front of him and blocked his run. He was going to be in that marking contest if it hadn't happened.
Well, he quickly handballs off to Air. Air's going to load up from outside 50. It's going to fall 10 metres short in the pocket. Henderson dealt with off the ball. Mark was brought down. Umpire said it must have come off hands. But the only way that Castlemaine were going to get a ball inside forward 50 there was from a free kick, Norm, because they had absolutely nothing to kick to.
No, and Lloyd Butcher, he's tried his heart out all day in the ruck and been magnificent and deserved the free because they kept him out of a contest.
Castlemaine deep in attack. It's Butcher. He grabbed it out of the pack and he put it goalward. Only metres from goal whistle. And it might be a free kick, I reckon, to the Dragons or a ball up.
I think it's a ball up.
It was Andrews who was really strong for the Dragons, the first gamer. We're only metres away from goal. Dragons need to kill it, and they do for a minor score. They concede. So it goes to 42 Castlemaine, 66 Sandhurst. Over 30 minutes have gone in this third term. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
4-goal margin. The red signs are flying high in front of the the Sandhurst bench. Trying to kill this game and run out the quarter. They're in no rush to bring this ball back into play. Eventually, Free will bring it back in, and he'll just send it out towards the pocket. Tarju got the fly and took the mark in front of Michael Hartley. And 50 as well. Not sure what that 50 was for. Did you say?
Never heard an umpire call stand.
But I don't think Hartley was moving anyway.
No, he did. He moved, but he was moving backwards.
It was right in front of our broadcast position. So Tarju's got it, and well, the siren sounds because Fergus Green had taken a uncontested mark out on a hard lead, but the siren beats him. Thankfully for Castlemaine, a premiership quarter from the premiership fancies, the Sandhurst Dragons. They put this one out to a 4-goal margin. Castlemaine are still in it if they're good enough. 6-6-42, 10-6-66, three-quarter time. Score sponsor is Don is good.
Final scores out at this Maryborough Princess Park, 234 to 8, 34, 32, 34 to 128 Maryborough, the Storm big winners. Down at the Graveyard, three-quarter time, Gisborne lead, 10-13, 73 to Kangaroo Flat, 4-8, 30. And at Harry Trot, the Bloods Trail, 5-3, 33. The Borough, Eagle Hawk, 12-14, 86. Don't go anywhere. There's still life in this game because Castlemaine are still in it if they're good enough. They trail 6-6, 42 to Sandhurst.
Is the Bendigo Football Netball League top 5 for round number 8. Coming in at number 1, Zach Bolger here from Eagle Hawk. He had to think quick. He got it, snapped it, put it through the goals. Great work there, Zach. Coming in at number 2, we love a big climb here. John Coe from Golden Square takes off and takes a great mark in defence as well, if you don't mind. Coming in at number 3, it's Bailey Henderson here from Castlemaine. Gives the don't argue. Spears a pass in. Follows his work up, which is impressive. Gets it and bends it back all the way home. A brilliant goal there, Bailey. Number 4, it's Jack Stewart here from Golden Square. Tucked against the boundary line. A plethora of players in front of him. He snaps it. Oh, yes, he does. What a great goal by Jack Stewart. Number 5 sees Caleb Connick from Sandhurst here take a really strong mark. Knee in the shoulder. Took a beautiful grab.
Big, long, gangly arms, and he clunked it.
Fresh sponsor Parsons Towing Castlemaine is a 24/7 towing service covering all your towing needs, from accidents to breakdowns. Parsons Towing can handle anything from cars, trucks, buses, machinery, containers, even motorcycles. Parsons Towing is a family-owned business that understands the importance of prompt, professional service. Parsons Towing has now joined the team at Bellevue Panels in Bendigo, covering a larger area. To get you back on track anytime, anywhere. ParsonsMotorbody.com.au.
Steve Barty Gas is your local supplier of household, LPG cylinders, forklift, industrial and hospitality gases. They refill or exchange barbecue and camping cylinders and have a range of lubricants and greases. Steve Barty is a local bloke and has serviced Castlemaine and surrounding districts for over 40 years. For great service and competitive prices, contact Fresh sponsor Steve and the team on 5472 1262 or info@stevebartygas.com.au.
Local first fresh sponsor Jason Westcott Builder, where your dreams become a reality. Whether it's crafting bespoke 5-bedroom homes or breathing new life into cherished spaces with renovations and extensions, they're there for you every step of the way. With a dedicated team and a commitment to exceeding your expectations, Jason Westcott Builder is your partner in creating the home you've always envisioned. Visit them online with their galleries and begin your journey. at Jason Westcott Builder.
You can do it at City Framers. You can do it by capturing your glory days, capturing moments and creating unique memories for teams or individuals. You can do it by remembering this year in sport. You can do it with a framed jumper, ball, bat, or design a poster as a club trophy or glory days keepsake. Fresh sponsor Bendigo City Framers proudly support Bendigo football in 24. As a matter of fact, you can do it now.
Thanks to local footy sponsor, more live Bendigo football. And now it's time to fire up delicious Don Footy Franks. They're made for the footy. Is Don, is good.
Back here at the QEO, and it is still a well and truly 8 contest. Castlemaine 6-6-42, Sandhurst 10-6-66, an even 4-goal margin. But for all we thought Sandhurst domination on that quarter, they only managed to kick 4 goals to 1 in the quarter, so they did extend their lead, but it is only 24 points. They are still right in this game. Around the grounds in the Bendigo League, full-time score, Maryborough 128, the Storm 34-32-34. Gisborne 10-13-73. Haven't got away from Kangaroo Flat, who are 4-6-30. Still a handy 43-point lead. And Eaglehawk starting to kick away from the Bloods of South Bendigo. 13-14-92. South Bendigo 6-3-39 back here at the QEO. Goal kickers in this game. Kobe Maxted's kicked 2. Fergus Green has 4. Nick Stagg 2. Singles to Wilkinson and Wharton. While for the Magpies from Castlemaine, Michael Hartley, Zach Greaves, Jack Chester, Xavier Murley, all singles, and 2 to Bailey Henderson. Better players in this game for the Sandhurst Dragons, Don Moran.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. They've been consistent across the ground, but nobody's really set the world on fire. I like the quarter of Kobe Maxted. He's marking the ball up the ground as well as being damaging up forward. So I think he's been consistently good. Lockie Tardrew came into the game then. Lockie Hood's been good all day, and still, Liam Island down back. He's been an absolute rock, supported by Isaac Ruff as well. But I think that right now there's probably four players that are sitting around the same level today, making no huge impact right now in that quarter. Because to me, 4 goals. Castlemaine are in this. If they can get one back early, that could make it a lot closer and a few kicks closer.
Well, to get the final quarter underway, here's the Huntsman, Johnny Hunter.
Yeah, well, let's see what the Magpies can do. They gave Fergus Green a gift which just started the ball rolling the Dragons' way, and the Dragons have had most of the momentum since. So we're back in the forward line here. The Dragons, they'll go forward. Tananelli got his hands on the footy again. It emerges to the outer side. Wharton on the end of a handball. Inside forward 50 they go. But Liam Wilkinson, who's been good for the Magpies, takes a defending mark.
Well, Castlemaine will clear out. He goes short to Johnny Watson, who's probably been good for Castlemaine. He goes short to Simmons, but Castlemaine are going towards the end where majority of the goals have been kicked this afternoon, which is the Barnard Street end. He'll switch back across the ground. Now they can come across to Air. Got space to take the mark. Green wheels back, so he's out of that 5 metre zone, so he can actually wheel around there. Air, high ball down the line. Rough for the Dragons was first, and he'll take the intercept mark.
He hands it off to Free. Free runs to half forward. Fergus Green will be the target. Made him work. How did he mark that?
He didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't. It was first grabbed to the Castlemaine player.
Well, not according to the umpire, so we'll go by what the umpire says.
But the Castlemaine player was trying
Harrison
to juggle that
Sheehan will be absolutely.
Oh, he will be.
fuming.
He got first hand on that, knocked it down into Fergus Green's hands. He claimed the mark, and the umpire gave it to him. Load of rubbish.
Umpire did not hesitate giving it either, I must say. But I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you because he was entirely out of position, wasn't he, Fergus Green?
Yeah.
He won't miss this. Maybe if there is a footy god, he will. Let's see if he's shining here today. He is not, as Fergus Green slots his 5th goal of the afternoon. He's had a couple of gifts this afternoon, Fergus Green, and that was another one. 11-6-72, they lead 6-6-42, and that might just put it out of reach early days. Score sponsor is Don, is good. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yeah, Castlemaine needed the first one, not another one to Sandhurst to just stretch that gap. But just coming out of defence, Ryan Eyre, they switch the play back, and then Ryan Eyre kicks the ball back inside the corridor. Castlemaine's just lacking that one down the line, that somebody that can make a contest and catch it down the line. They just lack that player right now.
Well, if you're a Magpie supporter, you just hope that they can keep the fight up and not roll over in this contest. Philo goes into it hard up against the centre square line, which is on the grandstand side. Umpire crosses his arms and says, I'll throw it up. Hartley's gone to the ruck for the Magpies. I feel like he's going to get himself around the ball to try and get his Magpie side going. Spilt forward. He couldn't quite take it. Murley got it. Now they're away, the Magpies. It gets onto the run of Moran. Moran can accelerate away. Send the high ball inside forward 50. Henderson dive. Couldn't quite take it. Greaves has got 3 Sandhurst players around him. Eventually Henderson got up to lend a hand, but it shouldn't have got to that stage where it can be a 3-on-1 inside forward 50. Sandhurst will clear it out. Mark taken by Jake McLean.
McLean's been pretty good again. I like the way he plays, Jake McLean. Unassuming and underrated. But he's got this dinky kick in his game this afternoon. I'm not sure what it is.
It's always been there.
Yeah, it seems to be amplified today, maybe because they're under pressure, but it worked out okay. He went to Paul Pratt. Paul Pratt now down the wing. Tardrew was the target. Turnover now. Philo picks it up, gives it to Liam Wilkinson, who puts it on the left, across half forward. Magpies, Henderson in the area. Turnover, Cooper Smith. He'll spread it wide, and Alex Wharton is on.
So Wharton's got it. Mark on the far wing. Plays on. Handball's over the top to Free. Couldn't quite get there. Took an ordinary bounce. Now the Magpies can come through and clear. Well, it wasn't Curtis McLennan's best moment. Dragons will eventually receive it back. Forward they go. 80 out from home. They'll wheel it off. They've got options everywhere. Nally will take it. He can chip it over the shop to Stagg if he wants. The side's against it. Goes into the pocket. And all on his own for Sandhurst. Taking an uncontested mark inside forward 50. Will be a chance for a shot on goal. I pick up who that player is out there.
Jack Keating.
Might be Jack Keating. As mentioned by Don Moran.
Sandhurst running power starting to come to the fore, isn't it?
30 metres out. Not too much of an angle to go with. To kick a big goal in this contest, he starts it left. It stays left, minus score. But a handy point, actually. 11-7, 73, playing 6-6, 42. It is a 31-point margin in favour of the Sandhurst Dragons. Early stages of this final quarter. Local Footy lives at Fresh Bendigo. Our score sponsor, JB Re-Stumping.
Yeah, so not the first time this year that's happened, Don, that the opposition have run over the top of Castlemaine in the last quarter.
No, but you can't help 2 gifts to Fergus Green. That both momentum killers at the time. One was at the Barnard Street end and one at the City end. But they're not out of it yet. Curtis McLennan sends it to the outer side wing. Maxted got one too high surely for the Dragons and will get a free kick. And he's going to get 50 if they're not careful, the Magpies here. So Maxted, great player. I think Cam mentioned his versatility to Bryce Curnow before the game in the interview. You can play him wherever you like. I still like him down forward, to be honest. But he kicks it straight to Tardrew. Tardrew across half forward now. He's on left half forward, swimming pool side to the City end. Short pass to Alex Wharton, who's been pretty good. Still too far from home. Now short pass, building nicely. Wilkinson bravely floated in front of the pack. Wins possession. Gives it to Hartley. Hartley to Simmons. They need to kill it towards the boundary line. They do underneath the scoreboard, which reads 73-42.
The fumble then is actually a good fumble. Goes out of bounds, stop, reset.
You're saying deliberately? He might have been a professional. No, it might have been a professional fumble.
No, it wasn't.
Throw in. Hartley tried to go off the ground, but Philo was on the ball at the stage, so it didn't go anywhere. We'll have a ball up. Hartley will win the ruck contest down against Nally. Giving away a bit of size there, Nally. It spills forward. No one able to find a way through. Philo tried to burrow his way through, as a Philo so often does.
So in soccer, you have a goalkeeper. Why doesn't Castlemaine have a goalkeeper? They had two goal side.
Well, Coughlin wins it, just sends it high, goes 20 metres up in the air and about lucky to be 15 metres forward, but it's an intercept mark for the Magpies. I reckon that the player there, Castlemaine, tried to send it out towards the runner. It was also in the trainer was also in white, and then realised it wasn't a player and had to pull himself back, I reckon, for a split second then. Simmons has got it, chipped it back, kick was poor, turned over, Islander Smith, then gave it to Coughlin, got through the tackle, fed it out wide. Ball dropped by Free, but he has time to recover. Then he sends it off. It'll come forward and just be sent high inside forward 50 from Keating. In fact, it was Wilkinson, I should say. Spills to Coughlin. Coughlin trying to find a way through. Taken in the tackle. Good tackling there from Harry Shan. Will be rewarded and holding the ball.
Yes, it's good good pressure by Castlemaine there. Sandhurst have had all control of the ball for the last 5 minutes and they've held them out.
Sheen's target in their opposite back pocket was McConaughey. It was a very poor kick. He's let Fergus Green in. Fergus Green there goes to Alex Wharton. He's got too much time, too much space, and that's a poor error, poor turnover. Matthew Wilkinson has taken a mark, unchecked, 35 out, not much of an angle.
If you're going to change directions, you've got to get a stop, don't you? You've got to get a catch.
Yep.
You can't just grass a 50-metre kick across the ground from back pocket to back pocket and expect to win the ball back when you haven't kicked it to a player to mark. The whole purpose of a switch is to have the player be able to play on and run upfield, not stop.
It comes straight off the side of his boot, as did this one. Oh, no, he's kicked a goal. Oh, it came off the instep a little bit for Matty Wilkinson. They didn't celebrate it until it was basically right at the goal line. But that doesn't matter because an extension of the lead now, and if there was any chance of Castlemaine pinching this game, you'd now think it's pretty well gone because that is 12-7-79, the Dragons. 6-6-42, Castlemaine. Score sponsor, JB Restumping. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yes, you would hope that with experience, these indiscretions will drop out of the players' repertoire, Don, and they'll be able to utilise the ball better.
Yeah, the pressure that Sandhurst are putting on them are making them make the errors, so we've got to give them
some credit.
Oh, total credit in regards to the way that they're attacking the footy. They want to run away with this.
So back in the middle we go. Butcher won it down, taken to ground though for the Dragons. Hood goes up again. This time Sexton wins it down. Tarju found a way through to Butcher. Centre kick forward, but it's going to be Coughlin who can track it hard towards the boundary line. I think he'll be happy to see it over. He is, but Alex Wharton's also a chance of being in contention, I think, Johnny, for our Bendigo City Framers Sponsors Award today. Best on ground, of course, a $100 voucher towards Bendigo City Framers there on Garsard Street.
I think he's a loyal sponsor. That's a pretty good nomination, Cam. I reckon he's been pretty good too.
Throwing in front of our broadcast position, which is grandstand side wing.
Tardru's kick.
Free kick, Tarju. The umpire, 20 metres away, I think, called that one. The officiating umpire didn't, so...
It was off the ball, free kick. Tardru was trying to break free and he had his jumper pulled.
He chips it short, finds Jake McLean. McLean just didn't quite find his target. Simmons was there to receive, but he's going to kick it hard up against the boundary line. It's bounced on the chalk, Boundary umpire says benefit of the doubt will go the way of the Magpies. Will have a boundary throw in. Grandstand side wing. 10 minutes gone in the final quarter. 79 playing 42. A very professional Sandhurst Dragons team. Butcher took it out of the ruck. He dropped it on the ground. Should have been holding the ball. Didn't get any boot to it. Umpire was maybe blindsided. Spills towards the boundary. Players dive on top of it. Cross the arms. Ball it up. Well, the alarm bells are sounding out there, and the alarm bells are certainly sounding if you're a Castlemaine person, I think. Hood won it. Got it forward. They'll wheel it inside forward 50 from Smith. Green at the top of 50. Good defensive punch from behind. Spelt to Simmons. Simmons got it forward. Smith got it back. Will handball to Stagg. Stagg can steady himself for goal and will put through another goal. It's raining goals in the final quarter for the Sandhurst Dragons. Stagg's got himself a third goal of the day. He's another one that could be in contention for our Bendigo City Framers Best on Ground Award, thanks to our good sponsors at Bendigo City Framers. The score sponsor, 13-7-85, Castlemaine 6-6-42. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
Yes, well, it's Nick Stagg, of course, that started it for Sandhurst in the first quarter with their first goal, and he's continued on and played a four-quarter game for me today. But once again, Castlemaine were caught at the contest, at the ball up. Sandhurst were able to block passage and get clear passage without being tackled and made the most of it in the end.
So they've brought Hartley into the ruck and also Henderson into the middle with Philo. They're not going to win it though because Tardru did. gives it to Hood. Hood to Wilkinson. Wilkinson to McLean. McLean forward of centre now. He'll go to Fergus Green. In fact, his target was Nelly, who's playing down forward as well. Manages to get it on the boot. Paul Pratt over the top. Gives it to Fergus Green and kicks his sixth. And there's another nomination for the Best Player Award of the afternoon. Bendigo City Frame as you start getting six.
Well, he has
Cam, you're
six,
going to get
but
there.
I think uncontested in the goal square, 2 dodgy free kicks, probably only give him 2 generous goals.
Score sponsor is Don, is good. Local footy
I get the nomination because he has 6 on the board, but I don't think it's his best 6 goals that he's ever
no, you need
kicked.
to snap, mate. Oh, you're the grumpy one this afternoon now, are you?
Oh, are you disagreeing with me, Don? I don't think he's probably kicked 6 better goals in his career.
Look there, the red lights are starting to flash for Castlemaine because they're not getting first to the football now, and when Sandhurst get the ball, they make the most of it.
Well, back in the middle we go. Henderson eventually throws himself in the middle. He'll handball it backward out. Murley back to Henderson, shrugged off the tackle, and he'll chip it short and find a teammate. They'll fire it out now, the Magpies. They can go inside forward 50 here. Might have been from Slingo into the pocket. Mark's been taken by Tyson Jackson just inside the paint of 50. He'll load up and he'll take his best effort from here. You'll have to kick it all of 50 metres, 5 metres in from the boundary. Right-hand forward pocket on the right, comes in. He's made a pretty good effort of it, though. It's going to go right to the line. He might have kicked the goal. He has. Good finish from Tyson Jackson, and he gets the goal. Castlemaine get the goal that breaks the streak of goals in this final quarter. And they're probably still just too far out of reach, 7-6-48. But they can put some more respectability on this scoreboard. Sandhurst 14-7, 91, 13 minutes gone, final quarter. Score sponsor is Don. Is good.
Yeah, they say the cream rises to the top, and that certainly was great football by Bailey Henderson there. He had the ball 3 times, got it to Slingo, and excellent selection by Slingo going forward.
So a whistle from the boundary umpire who was adjudicating on the corner of the diamond gives a free kick to Castlemaine to Hartley. Hartley short passes to Air. Air short pass, poor kick inside forward 50. So another intercept to Alex Wharton. I want you to keep your name on Pinhead. I think they call him Pinhead, don't they?
Yeah, well, he was the one that gave that free kick away because he cut the corner of the centre square as the ball was being bounced.
Well, he's been pretty good.
Pinhead or toe ball?
I thought he was going to... I was going to nominate him for the table, chrome home. So Don's telling us to calm it down. Well, he'll be happy if we give him the $100 voucher from our sponsors from Bendigo City Frame. That'll make up for everything. They do watch these games, they tell me, the Sandhurst boys, so he'll hear what I've had to say. It is Pinhead. I've heard other people call him Pinhead. As you can tell, there's a little bit of a lull in play as it goes over the boundary line. Castlemaine in attack. 40 metres out from goal. They're near those club rooms that don't exist anymore in the forward pocket at Barnard Street end.
Yep, Johnny's just worked out that they're no longer there.
Sandra Sully with the late news.
Henderson smothers the kick. He'll take it towards the boundary line and in the content. He's just happy just to paddle it straight over. That's as deliberate as they come. But
final scores from Wayne Smith. Thanks to Wayne Smith sending them in this afternoon. Mount Pleasant 14-15-99 defeated Huntley 9-7-61. Bennett kicked 7, and Colbinaban 13-14-92 defeated Heathcote. Norm, you'll like it, 9-2-66. 9-12-66.
Oh, the wheels are off out at Pigeon Park in Heathcote.
Do they call that Pigeon Park, or you just make that up?
No, Pigeon Park.
Sounds a bit derogatory to me, but anyway.
He must have some pigeons that fly over the ground. I'm not sure, but I know it's referred to as Pigeon Park. They call them the pigeons down at Heathcote.
Do they?
I made that one up, but it sounded
Yeah,
good.
I was going to say they're the Saints down at Heathcote.
Heathcote pigeons? Yes.
Well, Murley's got it forward. Mark is taken by Ashton Franklin. Can wheel inside forward 50. He'll send a high ball in the Greaves direction, but he's got 3 to beat. Spills off hands. Back of the pack. Over the boundary line it goes. And as it so often has been, every time they've gone inside forward 50, Don, they've had to go to a 3-on-1 or a 1-on-4 or something like that. The forward line structure just completely out of whack for Castlemaine today.
Yeah, they've run Bailey through the middle now, and I've just noticed Bailey's just come off the ground with a hook shoulder. So he's just...
Doesn't match the ankle, I reckon.
Yeah, he's had a day, hasn't he?
Well, without him in that forward line, they just seem to be a little bit lost.
Hurry kick out of the pack.
Hartley.
Castlemaine. It was Hartley. He had a shot at goal. He's pretty mobile this afternoon, Hartley. He's got a little bit of the ball, but put it through for another minor score. So that sees Castlemaine at 7-7-49, trailing 14-7-91. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
We touched on it off air, Don. It was a bit of a blessing in disguise when he had to go forward because he was a little bit sore. It just gave him a little bit more up forward, but he's too good of a player not to have it in midfield, so you're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't.
No, it worked well because they managed to get themselves back in the game, and he started back up front, but when the tides turned and Sandhurst whacked those goals on, they've had to move him into the middle, and now he's off the ground.
So Maxted will clear the ball out of defence. Finds its way up into the hands of Jake McLean in the number 17 jersey for the Sandhurst Dragons. Famous jumper number 17. Hartley's given away a free kick to Tananelli, but I reckon Tananelli has done an absolutely brilliant job since he's played on Michael Hartley today. He's gone forward with him, and he's probably almost beaten him at times. They'll be wrapped to that one today as Nelly, emerging as a senior footballer in the comp, sends it forwards. Fergus Green plucks the mark inside forward 50. And, well, I was talking him up, and with a kick like that, I'm going to continue talking him up. He's having a great couple of weeks. Career best form for Tananelli.
Yes, it is. And, Hartley didn't need to give that free kick away to Nelly. All he had to do was stand in front of him, and he would have taken the mark. But he got behind, found himself in trouble, felt that he had to hang on, and now he's showing the umpire what happened. But the umpire won't change his decision now.
Well, Green is kicked 6 from 20 metres out. Not too much of an angle to deal with. For goal number 7, in he comes on the right. Oh, he shanked it to the left.
John's got to get the white out.
Minor score. He had putting it down. It was almost writing his name on the City Framers Award for $100 thanks to our sponsor, Bendigo Cities. I reckon if he had a kick that one.
I've taken on board what you said about he has had a couple of gifts this afternoon.
You were a bit excited when he took the mark. He going 7-7.
He was playing devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate, John, the huntsman as they call him. 14-8-92, 7-7-49. Sting gone out of this one as we hit red time in the final quarter. JB re-stumping. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo is our score sponsor.
Darby Simmons. It was a poor kicking from fullback, but air was good enough, and that was even poorer. He kicked it straight to Coghlan.
Even poorer again.
Kick as well. And
that was a free.
Simmons, they let it go. Simmons won it. Handball over Murley, who's been quiet for a quarter or so now. Turnover. Handball by Polpratt. Went to Tardrew, went goalward, and that was a turnover. So tired players to Curtis McLennan. He goes wide, and Darby Simmons will release out of the back pocket for the Maggies.
That he will. Down the line it goes. Offhand, Sandhurst player through for the mark. Couldn't quite take it. Goes to Coghlan. Coghlan is 55 from home. We'll send a low ball inside forward 50. Mark taken. And he'll go back and line him up for goal. I think he thought about passing him off. It might be Pelpratt, who's 45 metres out from goal, directly in front.
Yes, that was good lowering of the eyes then by Coghlan.
Well, Pelpratt lowered his eyes as well, and coming out onto the lead was Jake McLean. He almost stopped his lead, and then the kick went to him, so he had to reset a little bit there, but he was still able to take the mark.
There's a bit going on in the goal square.
Probably a tougher kick than what the original kick was, I reckon. He's maybe 3 or 4 metres further out, still pretty close to the painter 50.
Tananelli just gave Bailey one in the throat. Still trying.
Still going at it on the goal line down there, but you watch the fight and I'll watch the ball as we go. McLean will go goalwards, and well, it was a low ball. It almost carried the pack through for a minor score offhand. 7-7-49 the Maggies, 14-9-93 the Dragons. 21 minutes gone. Final quarter. Score sponsor, Jason Westcott Builder.
Yeah, for the Magpies, kicked it to the back pocket to Henderson. Henderson now beyond 50. It's a long ball. It'll be a turnover. Wins it rough to Wharton. Wharton by hand to the back door to, well, Kobe Maxted, a rare mistake, kicked it straight to Liam Wilkinson of the Maggies. Off right, half back. Wilkinson, long ball down the wing. Off hands. Layden, he wins it now, the Dragons. They're away. Tardrew, handball to Campbell Smith. Smith will go inside forward 50. A little bit of a push by Lockie Hood. He was allowed to get away with it. He's on half forward. Handball to a running Smith. Oh, he cops it up. Henderson intercepts. Over the top. Now that's another turnover. Layden, Tardrew. Layden getting involved again. He missed it. Ugly footy. How many turnovers do you want in one bit of play? As the umpire said, I'm sick of this. Give it to me and I'll ball it up and we'll start again.
Yes, even Lockie Tardrew, with all his experience, couldn't find a way out of it then, and handballed a teammate into trouble. We've now got a ball up.
Around the grounds, MCDFNL, it is Talbot 8 goals 5 to Denali 16 goals 13. So Denali going to run out pretty comfortable winners over Talbot on Talbot's home patch this afternoon.
Zave Murley got one under the chin for his trouble. Free kick. Spreads it wide on the wing. Short pass. Who let it bounce? Semmons. Semmons short pass forward to Philo, who let it bounce. Another sold the candy. He'll go inside forward 50 shallow. Poor kick. It was a poor kick. He kicked it to Liam Wilkinson and gave him no chance whatsoever. And Ruff was in the box seat.
Another full-time score in the MCDFNL. Carisbrook 11-7-73 defeated Navarre 8-8-56.
Sexton's got the footy for the Dragons. Running with the fly to the ball nicely. Good strong play was Nally. Nally plays on. He'll go inside forward 50. Green's the target. And it was a one-on-one. And... well, he was just too strong, and that ball was a good, nice ball for him to mark right in front of his eyes.
Yes, his last two marks have been very good contested marks against tough opposition, and to his credit, he stayed in the game right through. Even although he has got 6, he's still been very competitive.
And Natty Bialaba around the grounds in complete control, 18-12, 120 to the Maryborough Giants, 2-4-16.
Fergus Green, the son of a gun. You know him well, Don Moran.
Yes.
As he goes along. Oh, it's a copter, ugly, dead pigeon kind of ball from Pigeon Park as it goes off hands. And it's I borrowed that from Joel Peterson as well, by the way. He used to love calling him a dead pigeon.
Yep.
93 playing 49. 24 gone, final term.
Well, the Pigeons are usually out at Heathcote, but apparently they're here at the QEO this afternoon, John.
Well, the dead ones anyway.
Oh, down the line, Henderson will fly. Tarju come from behind. Didn't quite get a touch to it. Spilling forward, Andrews. Haven't called his name too many times the first game up, but he'll celebrate his first game with a victory in the maroon and blue. Working forward, Perez has got it. Came forward. Palprat was dealt with after he got rid of the ball, and he will receive a free kick. A little bit going on off the ball, and I think, is it 50-metre penalty called?
Yeah, he had a crack at Bailey, so Bailey's just responding.
Now it's on in front of us. Umpire right on top of it, so nothing silly will get done there. Henderson being dragged around by 3. There you go. The umpire in front of the contest has said, you take the 50, I'll just make sure these boys keep themselves calm. And then umpire Marcus Osborne will roll the ball inside forward 50, and I'm just trying to see who's going to actually receive the shot. Is it going to go to Oscar Perez?
Now, if it's a 50-metre penalty, it's got to. Palprat's got to take it.
Palprat has just absolutely shanked a one-kick step, and Ryan Eyre could not believe his luck. He was
So, John, you said there,
unwrapping a Christmas
is there a
gift.
footy god? There was then. Because Palprat...
Well, I might say that might because Ayres tried to take on the tackle, and then now he just dropped the ball when he was tackled, but the tackler held on for a little bit too long, and Ayres gets a second chance at it. He doesn't make the mistake this time. He chips to Ben McConaughey. It's all happening here. Get the circus music queued up or someone. Ayres, it's McConaughey. Back to Ayres. Ayres and McConaughey, somehow they work it out to Semmons. Semmons drops a mark he should have taken, but he's able to recover. Harry Sheehan will clear out of defence. His kick will go down the line. Looking for Wilkinson, but it goes out of bounds on the full. He has not had his kicking boots on this afternoon, Harrison Sheehan. He's kicked 2 out of bounds on the full, and he's also turned a crucial goal over early in the quarter as well. Don's shaking his head as the Dragons work it towards centre-half forward. They're 60 metres out from goal.
Perez with the footy. I thought he was going to go the tube then for a moment. Then he decided against it. He kicks it in the direction of Fergus Green. He had one grab at it and it fell into his bed basket. And now he's got an opportunity to kick 7 and a little bit of a smirk from the gentleman in the box. Do you reckon that come off hands?
I want to know what it fell into.
It's got it. It's come off Sheehan's hands.
Yep, again. That's the second time Sheehan's had the ball and it's gone to an opposition.
And the boys have remonstrated.
Yep.
And
he
got
got 50 metres.
Yeah, he's got 50 metres. So he slots it through now. Sandhurst, 15-10, 100, 7-7-49. It's out to a 51-point margin. Actually, that's a bit disappointing because they've been better than that for 3 quarters. The score sponsor, Bendigo City Framers. Local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
But I must admit, just watching that contest as the ball come in, Tanner Nally has certainly got under the skin of Michael Hartley, because all Hartley was worried about then was where Nally was as the ball came into that contest.
I'm starting to think, John, I'm trying to blame something in regards to how poor the skill level has been from both sides. Are the Sherrans not the same as they used to be? Haven't kicked one for a while? Because there's something wrong. Both sides have been off with their foot skills today.
I guess the common theme for this season is the Magpies fade out again in a final quarter. It has been their Achilles heel on season 2024. It's probably cost them 2 victories as well, their final quarter fade outs. And then again last week, they were right in that game in the third quarter against Gisborne and got bumbled away in the last, and the same things happened here today, Don.
Yeah, it's we mentioned it at pre-game, didn't we? And here we are, witness of it.
Wood sent it forward. Wilkinson just shoved his opponent McLennan out of the way, took an easy mark. On the right, we'll send it in. Green's going to come leading out again. Did he get hands to it? Mark taken by Wilkinson. I reckon if Green had pulled that one out of his hands, he would have tried to claim it again. And based on current themes, he might have got it. Short pass finds its way into the hands of Murley. Murley will then bang one towards centre half forward. No mark taken. Spills off hands. Chester was going through, but Alex Wharton will clear off defence. He'll chip it out. Bailey Henderson will take the mark. Turnover kick. But Alex Wharton is still my vote so far, I reckon, for our Bendigo City Framers Best on Ground Award. $100 thanks to our sponsors.
We'll let John and Norm mull over that, and we'll have a little bit of discussion shortly when this game finishes. And there's not far to go from the end of this one, as the ball is in forward 50 now.
Been long quarters
for Castlemaine. Well, what's the time? It's nearly 5 to 5, so you're right. We usually finished well and truly by now, and they must be listening in there with the time clock. So Sandhurst run out big winners here, a 51-point margin, in fact. Final score, Sandhurst 15-10, 100. They defeat Castlemaine, the Magpies, who are gallant for 3 quarters, 7-7-49.
Final quarter fade-outs. It's just the common theme for Castlemaine. I mentioned it. 3-4 games this year where they've had chances and they've been in the game at 3-quarter time and they just haven't been able to not only just get beaten in the final quarter, but to get run over badly in the final quarter. We saw they led the game last week in the third quarter, went down by 41 points. They were 10 points down in this one in the third quarter, and they've lost the game by 51 points. So 2 weeks in a row against good opposition, they're going to walk out and say, yep, we played 3 quarters of good footy, but 3 quarters of good footy counts for sweet stuff all, as they say.
I thought you were going to say it then too.
It was close, wasn't it?
It was close. Very. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, totally,
I knew what I was going to say.
That's good. No, I totally agree with you. So they've been in the game for three quarters. So you can keep talking about big improvements, which we're all witnessing, but you've now got to start to talk about the last quarters of their games where they're in it and they have a chance. So a couple of words. Fitness, belief, but my last one's going to hurt, character. So there was no fight in that.
In the last quarter? No.
So that's the one that's going to hurt. I think there was no fight in the dog whatsoever. They basically lied down and let him go over the top.
That potentially could come with lack of fitness as well. I mean, but there was some... Yeah, there's some moments in that game where Castlemaine definitely had their chances and that didn't take it. So
on-ground leadership will bring that into, if you think fitness is then going to affect character, where's the leadership out on the ground to rectify that then? Getting around them when, so I'd like to have they kicked 5 in a row and, you guys have been a bit hard on Fergus Green. He's kicked 7, so you shouldn't call him a cherry picker. What did I call him, a cherry picker?
I didn't call him a cherry picker.
Oh, it must have been me then thinking of that. So he's cherried.
You made that up.
He's cherried probably 3 from the square.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, he's a perfect target.
He's grabbed two out of the air that weren't his.
Yeah.
So he's had a good game.
Oh, he's had a superb
He's still got
game.
to kick him.
I know. I've sort of gone the other way, but we'll come back to Castlemaine. Yeah, they've got to basically sit down and, you start to think in the middle of winter, do you sit down and you pull that last quarter apart for the last couple of weeks to see what's going on out there, or do you dig in now and you bring your runners Tuesday?
Well, you probably do both. You bring your runners Tuesday, as you always do. Now, look, we've only got a couple of minutes because we'll need to take a break at 5. So let's discuss our Bendigo City Framers, our sponsor. We've got a $100 voucher. Every game they have a $100 voucher to the best player on the ground deemed by us. I'll let Norm, you didn't have much of a say then, so give us your thoughts, and we usually got three of us to discuss it. We're going with it 4 now. I'm pretty confident in my mind who I'm going for, but let's see if you can turn one of us around.
Yeah, well, of course, the man that I was thinking of at three-quarter time that had an excellent first 3 quarters of the game faded right out and only got a couple of touches and also coughed up the ball a couple of times in that last quarter. So that, for me, ruled air out. When you looked at other better Castlemaine players, well, Philo continued on what was his good form throughout this contest, and he remained in the running for the award. But when you look at the Sandhurst side, the experience certainly showed. One of their most experienced players on the ground. Yes, he gave one penalty away in the last quarter where he ran through the centre square as the ball was being bounced, or cut the corner of the centre square as the ball was being bounced. But Alex Wharton, for me, was probably Sandhurst's best player throughout the day, their most consistent player. In the first quarter when they needed a start, he was there down back. And in the second quarter, when Castlemaine continually attacked, it was Wharton that got a lot of the football and turned them back. So I think that I'll go with Alex Wharton.
Don Moran, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's a contender for sure. Lockie Tardaru's second half was terrific. I'd like to see. It'd be great if we could see some numbers, John. But because there's some guys like Lockie Hood who's inside. We underestimate what he does around the footy and that first use of the. But James Coglin's another one. Like it'd be really hard to look away from him as well. Isaac Ruff was good. Down back, Liam Island was strong throughout the day, but yeah, and Jake McLean, he could have had a really good game if he had been able to use his footy a lot better than what he did. Because I thought his running power today was fantastic, but his skill errors probably keep him out of the mix. But yeah, I'm not sure, John. I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit. I'm not still on Alex Wharton right now. I just think that there were a lot of good contributors. Max Stead went down back in the last quarter. I thought he was in the mix as well, but he went down back, which Castlemaine get a lot of forward footy. And yeah, don't forget Fergus Green kicking 7.
Yeah, he kicked 7. Absolutely fantastic performance. I'm going to leave it up to you now, Powerhouse. Today you can have the choice for our $100 voucher from our sponsor Bendigo City Framers for a voucher there at Garston Street. Who are you going to give it to? You've heard both. Well, you know who I probably want to vote for, but you've heard both arguments from these two gentlemen. Who are you going to go?
So who are we settling on?
Well, Norm's gone Wharton, not Joel Wharton. Alex Wharton.
I was trying to look for some other scores. I zoned out. Sorry, Alex Wharton and.
He's sitting on the fence. Well, he's amongst it.
He's amongst it, but I don't think he was clearly the best player out there.
Well, I'm going to stick with Norm. I said with about 5 minutes to go in the game that I thought Alex Wharton was probably the best, and his run that he provided at times, he was just able to be that really good link-up player, and I'm going to go for Alex Wharton.
Well, Alex Wharton is the $100 voucher winner this afternoon for our $100 voucher from our sponsor, Bendigo City Framers. So we've got a lot to discuss when we come back. I'll give you some final scores. We may have Alex Wharton in the box. We'll just see how we go with that one.
We'll get the song.
And we'll go and get the song and bring you up to date with all the scores that come to hand from Central Victoria. But here at the QEO, Sandhurst dominated. They kicked away, as you'd probably expect they would, and Castlemaine have done it all year. They've just died out in the last quarter and a bit. They have been defeated 100-49. It was 15-10, 100 to 7-7-49. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly. Where local footy lives at Fresh Bendigo.
It's driving through the heat and the pouring rain. The temper can't be